There we go. It looks like we're back on. So yeah, I don't know what that was about. I guess I got disconnected from my stream key between yesterday and today, but that's fine.
Okay.
No Lawrence today, so we're just gonna be doing chill stream.
Sadness.
He did not tell me when he was gonna be here, but Grant did say that he would stop by for a little bit. So my intention is to do just kind of chill with Vampire Survivors. We could just chit chat about stuff. And then when Grant gets here, depending on how long he's planning on being here, we can migrate to Tabletop Simulator. And then if he leaves early, we could just go back to Vampire Survivors or something else after that.
Sure. I don't know if I'll be able to play tabletop per se, just because I'll be doing a couple of stuff. But
then we won't be doing Tabletop Simulator.
Cool. Sure. I never suggested tabletop. You're the one who did.
I know.
Yes.
It's almost like I tried to promote this conversation yesterday, and then you shot it down like it was a B-2 bomber.
Yeah, I think it happened right at the end where I was just like, I suggested something else, but you know, it's okay.
You didn't suggest anything. It was actually
I suggested Stanley Parable. We could show Grant that if he hasn't seen it.
I mean, if we're not doing Tabletop Simulator, sure. I don't see a reason to not. It's not really a chill stream game because it requires your attention, but we could still have fun with it, sure.
It's more chill than, let's say, like an action game, right? It's more just a guy talking and you walking, I guess, but it'll be kind of fun.
I agree. I do think it'll be fun. Okay, so we're just gonna do this.
So have you obtained Okami in this game?
I literally just selected the character.
Oh, sorry, I forgot I actually have to read. You told me I didn't have to pay attention.
I mean, it's a white dog that's on the screen. I figured that you would have been able to pick up on that.
Yeah, I know once you started it.
Well, I'm just saying, like, you could have seen the character. It was there. It existed.
No face cam today?
Oh, yeah. Thank you very much for reminding me. And hello. All right. We're back. It was a little bit of chaos there at the beginning, so I forgot some stuff, but...
Tis fine.
You should be all good to go.
My little downtown is having like a fairish thing. Like they literally kind of set up a mini fair in our downtown. But I had like no friends to go
as
with.
In like similar to a fair. Okay.
Yeah, it's like small scale kind of stuff.
Sure.
With like maybe even like a night market-ish kind of esque thing. But yeah, but I had no friends to go with, so I was just like, sad.
Oh well.
If only anyone lived close to me. But no. Just to get away from me, you also moved all the way to East Coast.
It is
Clearly
true.
as an attack to me, yeah.
It is a known fact that the overall objective of any college student is to get as far away from Saba as possible.
Exactly. True.
So I do have a question, and this is more of a just conversation topic. I got into an argument with, not really an argument, more just like a heated disagreement. A heated disagreement with my mother the other day. Did
you try turning on the cooler?
Saba.
I'm trying to be funny here. Okay?
I know you are. All right. What was I saying? Sorry. So I got into a heated discussion, I guess, with my mother, who she wants to throw out a large majority of my wardrobe because, as with most people, if my clothes are not literally falling apart, I have no reason to replace them. I find buying clothes for the sake of just having a new wardrobe to be a waste of money. But I will admit that a lot of the shirts that I wear, like out to my walks and stuff like that, do have holes in them, you know, whether it be underneath the sleeves or around the collar or whatever. So I fully acknowledge that fact. But one of the things that Mom said during the discussion was that she was like, those barely count as shirts anymore.
Oh, is this your topic of cutting up a shirt until it like not a shirt anymore?
Like at what level of damage, in whatever way damage can be interpreted, does a shirt no longer become a shirt anymore? Because
I was thinking about this.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
So what do you say?
So on one hand, if you let's imagine a vertical cut. If you vertically cut a shirt top to like bottom, right? That ceases to become a shirt and you've just made yourself a shirtish cardigan. Right?
What's a cardigan again?
It's like a thin coat jacket thing.
It just has like an opening in the middle.
Yeah, you can like button it up.
But is that not then what's a Hawaiian shirt? It's called a shirt.
That's a button-up shirt.
But that's still a shirt.
Well, sure, but I'm saying if you're talking about a regular t-shirt, if you cut a regular t-shirt, it doesn't just become a Hawaii because like it still needs the buttons.
So it's the distinction between the button. So a cardigan doesn't have buttons?
No, a cardigan like does have buttons, but it's like a thicker material, usually meant as like a covering. You could even say technically maybe like a Hawaiian. I think the Hawaiian is one of like the weird ones where it actually doubles as either the shirt or like a covering. To which
I usually wear it as a covering.
Yeah.
But you can wear it as a shirt.
Yes.
Okay.
Normally though it's like the same thing as kind of like it has to be buttoned up to like a certain degree for it to count as I think a shirt though. Like you can still have a little bit of your collar open.
So
have the collar closed, but then that more shirty, I guess.
Based on what you've said so far, your determination of shirt is how much of your front torso it covers?
Well, it's like what is the functionality of a shirt, right? To basically
to cover up
like
your torso.
Torso, back. I guess it's the most basic functioning piece of clothing that you can alter.
Can you have a shirt that has the back removed? Is that still a shirt? Like if I cut out a big U shape, like an upside down U shape in the back of one of my shirts, is that still a shirt?
I think for all intents and purposes, you could call it a shirt, but it's like I feel like when people just say, "Oh, put a shirt on," it's usually like all of it's like covered. You start like going out of the norm of what people think a shirt is. Like it's still just like it's still your shirt, right? Because I was thinking about it. It's like, what if, like you said, you just took the front, back, and sides, so there's only like an outline of the shirt left. Does that still count as like a shirt?
What,
and
you mean like I'm a 2D character and you traced me and that's the shirt?
No, it's so hard to like explain, I guess what I'm saying. So like imagine like the middle part of the shirt is gone and all you have is the outer edges.
The outer edges of the shirt. You mean like where the seams would be?
Probably.
So
yeah.
So you cut everything else away except for the seams of the shirt. Does that still count as a shirt? I would argue that does not.
Because I feel like that's like it's too far removed from what the intention / purpose of the shirt is, right?
So you actually touched upon something earlier that I want to bring up again. So you were like, all right, if you cut from like the front bottom of your shirt up to the collar, that is no longer a shirt, right? You think that is now a like subtype of clothing. What if you do the same thing like from the bottom, but it's from your like armpit down? So essentially the shirt now opens like a clam at the bottom. Is that still a shirt? Because the front and the back are both completely untouched by this process. Does that still count as a shirt?
I don't know. Like this is the thing. Like there may be like categories of things that I am like unaware of. Like let me give you another example that like my friend does like with her shirts. Like it's like the thing where you go to like maybe a rave or something. So you can like DIY this. Like, okay, this has come from a shirt, right? But maybe this article of clothing now is technically called something different. Well, no, that's the thing. That's the interesting thing. I'm like, I don't know whether or not this is actually called something else now, even though it came from a shirt. Like there may be like sometimes maybe some might call this like a crop top instead of like a shirt because of like the bottom is so segmented.
Netted crop top sort of thing.
Yeah. So it's like it ceases to become shirt.
But then, okay. Because, like, I guess shirt is just... Because we've had very similar discussions to this in the past, where it's just, like, we've argued about, like, what is a sandwich? And we eventually came to the conclusion of, like, well, sandwich is, like, a super category that just exists above a bunch of other nonsense, so it's hard to define something as not being a sandwich. I think that this is the same thing. Where I think, under most circumstances, if someone was wearing that, you could be like, hey, I like your shirt. But if you asked somebody
what it is?
But if you asked somebody to buy you this and you described it as a shirt and then they came back with something that wasn't this, I don't think you would have the right to be mad at them. But yeah, you were saying? It's
like, I think a t-shirt becomes the thing where it's like, what is it, with the shapes where we say like all, like, what is it? All like rectangles, or
all rectangles are squares, but not all squares are rectangles.
Yeah, where I think like you can basically call almost all of this like, oh, nice shirt, right?
Right.
Because it's just an article of clothing, but then it's like, well, if you're specific, this is called like blank. I think that's what it becomes. I think a t-shirt is something specific under the shirt category.
What is the default shirt?
We're saying shirt so much that like the word is becoming
starting
to
lose all meaning. But like
yeah.
what is the default shirt? Is it a t-shirt nowadays?
It is just like, I just looked up shirt
and it's just a bunch of t-shirts.
And it's just this.
Well, like, okay, so then
the t-shirt is like the default.
So
then it has
like
shirt in the name, right?
Long sleeve shirt, right?
It's a semi-long sleeve shirt, but yeah.
No, but I'm saying like semi, or not even semi, but just like long sleeve shirt is a subcategory of shirt because it has an extra qualifier in its name. Okay, so I think we're starting to make progress here finally, where how much damage can you do to a shirt? Because these are all like designs that we've been discussing so far, like different ways that either a shirt can be redesigned or like altered to become something else. I put ketchup on my ketchup. Very funny. Did you ever see? Was the movie called Mean Girls? I don't exactly remember.
The one with Lindsay Lohan?
It was like
that is Mean Girls.
I think one of the phrases that came from it that was really popular was like on Thursdays we wear pink or something.
Yes.
That is Mean Girls. Okay, so in Mean Girls, I recall that there was a moment where the Mean Girls are trying to embarrass the main character, and they endeavor to do so by cutting up like the nipples of her shirt, so that way it like had this ridiculous thing. And so that's damage, right? But that's still a shirt. But would you only qualify that as being a shirt because it doesn't have a better name? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Like it's still an article of clothing, and the closest like
because it doesn't have a name, we just default the shirt.
Yeah, like you could still say, "Oh, you've ruined my shirt," right? That's what you would say.
Right. Okay. So like that one, so that's where it comes down to, I guess then, is that if there's not a better name for what you have made after the damage,
yeah.
Then,
of course, like there are some things where it's like
category above shirt, huh?
Yes, that's because it's like there are some things that are like so obviously deviated from like what a t-shirt shirt, like the basic thing that I showed you, that by that point maybe you call it a top instead of a shirt.
Sure. Okay, that makes sense.
Hello, Grant. Do you put ketchup on your ketchup?
Ketchup on my ketchup to make ketchup squared.
Ketchup squared! What makes it ketchup squared and not just ketchup times 2? Because ketchup squared is a lot larger than ketchup times 2, I think.
Yeah,
as
it's ketchup concept. By ketchup.
Ketchup by ketchup. That's my favorite manga.
Yeah. Ketchup X ketchup.
Ketchup X ketchup.
Man, that would just be ketchup.
So Grant, you wandered in like the fool you are into the middle of a conversation that you now have to participate in.
Fantastic.
What is a nipple removed t-shirt called?
Wait, that's not specifically what I was getting at, but yes.
Are we talking about like Michael Reeves' shirt?
I don't know who Michael Reeves is. Is he the one with like he did the Game Grumps thing with the knife?
He was on an episode of 10 Minute Power Hour.
Yeah, with the knife.
He's an engineer. Yeah.
Okay.
He's a very talented engineer. And he was in Creator Clash, which I also want to talk about, which was very cool. And
you're not allowed to talk
weigh-in-
about Creator Clash until you talk about you being in the vicinity of a blog, evidently.
vlog. That actually has to go with Michael Reeves, surprisingly.
Surprisingly.
But for his weigh-in, he just cut out holes for his nipples on his shirt, because usually you do your weigh-in shirtless and pantsless. You're just wearing underwear usually, or shorts. Sure. So he wore shorts and just cut out holes for nipples on his shirt.
Nice. That's how those things work.
That's why I thought that's what we were talking about.
Well, so the actual like summation of this question was that long story short, I got into a heated discussion with my mother, who claimed that due to the fact that some of my shirts that I wear like to walks and around the house have like holes in the collar and stuff.
So your Speedwagon
she
shirt?
argued that they don't even count as shirts anymore. And
Speedwagon.
Sorry?
Speedwagon shirt.
One of my 3 Speedwagon shirts, yes.
The Speedwagon Foundation one.
Yeah. But we were, I don't know, like we were just discussing whether or not it like how much damage can you do to like a t-shirt, for example, before you don't qualify it as a shirt anymore.
Oh, I want to jump in real fast. I think also intentionality matters. So it's like the design of your shirt, Zach, was supposed to be like, you know, like a normal shirt, right? So the holes produced by wear and tear are show that it's old rather than there's an intentional design thing going on. Now, mind you, some
like when people
may be
buy
like
ripped jeans.
Yeah. Some people may not be able
like
to tell the difference
jeans and stuff.
But
okay.
like sometimes like the fabric of like the shirt itself, when it becomes old, changes, right? So some people can tell you that it's like it just doesn't look good because that's not like the point. Like that's not what the shirt was.
Why is there a gold fever happening right now,
bro? They're selling all the nipple shirts we designed.
Every enemy is turning into gold, and I'm very confused. What the fuck was that? Anyway,
but yeah, I just wanted to insert that point.
I think that point is very relevant because it's like, you can buy a distressed shirt, but you still call it a shirt.
Yeah, because that's what the design or intention of that shirt was. Like it's supposed to be that way. Your t-shirt wasn't supposed to be that way.
Right, but it just, but it's still a shirt. Like, just because it's old doesn't mean it's not a shirt. You know?
Sure, but
like, just
it's
because
like,
you have like a shitty banged up car doesn't mean it's not a car.
Sure, but then like if you want to put, I guess, your best foot forward, I don't particularly think visually you want to show up with a banged up car. Like you try at least to make it look nice.
First off, some people don't have a choice, and second off.
That's why you say you try. You try your best. That's all we can ever do.
Is it though?
Do you have no choice though, Zach?
Do we have no choice to what?
Question. Do you have no choice but to have the banged up shirt?
I don't wear banged up shirts to like work. I wear like the work clothes and like dressier shirts that we bought specifically because I have to go into the office 3 times a month.
Sure, but does your mom only see you in the alternative banged up shirt?
Well, you say banged up shirt. It's more like banged up shirts. I only own like
closet.
I only own like 8 shirts.
Okay, so maybe that's what it is. Maybe she's just like, I'm tired of only seeing shirts that have devolved into whatever banged up shirts are, and I want to see you in something that's not that.
Right. I mean, sure, and I can appreciate that, but also, no.
Well, then there you go. That's where the contention is.
That's
You're
not,
just
that's
like, I
not the
don't
part of
care.
it. That's not the point of this discussion. This discussion is not about the relationship to me and my mother. This is the relationship between does it still qualify as a shirt or not?
Therapy stream. No, it's not. Tell us about your relationship with your parents.
I mean, I'm not gonna do that.
No, yeah.
I think I've made allusions too many times on stream to be comfortable with
Therapy
this.
stream.
Therapy stream.
So what will not be
Oversharing
evolving
stream.
this game? All right. The only thing that won't
Is
be
that why
evolving
there's this
is the
specific
attract.
music, by the way? It's 'cause of
Yes,
the dog?
this is.
Oh my
th-
god.
This is all Solomio's specific track. They actually added in a like nightmare version of the track where it sounds very similar to Okami when you go into the demon areas and you have to like
It's pretty
uncorrupt
funny.
the tree. But yeah, I'm about to say I'm glad you're picking up on this character. I love this game. Anyway, so yeah. I don't know. I think that you
yeah.
have to fuck up a shirt within an inch of its life for it to not be qualified as a shirt anymore.
Like,
Zach
okay,
just
Grant.
wearing a collar of like the hem of a shirt.
Wait,
Yeah.
just the
It's
collar of
still
a shirt
fine.
that is no longer a shirt, right? That's like basically a loose choker.
Is
And I
that,
was
is Zach
saying, I
wearing like
started
the
off,
Hulk, like ripped off just
yeah,
tatters
yeah.
of a shirt?
I was saying, like, Grant, would you classify, like, if you just took a shirt, right, and you took scissors and vertically from, like, the front, you just cut straight line down, does that classify as a shirt, or is that, like, changed to, like, a...
Jacket.
Yeah,
coat.
see, the interesting thing is, though, Zach did bring up, then what is a Hawaiian, like, button-up, like, why button-up shirts, like,
It's
count
called a
then?
Hawaiian shirt, right?
Yeah. But
So
I was
why
like,
is
well,
that
you
any
have to- you
different than
button
the
it
one
up,
that you
right?
just cut up? And
'Cause it
Saba
has
said it was the buttons.
And Hawaiian's
also-
known for having a specific design.
That is true.
Yeah, but also buttoning it up to, like, I guess, like, your upper, like, chest or something like that. Because, like, if you... Or I guess, like, a suit, like, jacket-ish looking thing, I guess could still maybe count Hawaiian-wise as a shirt, but I don't know.
If I'm wearing a Hawaiian shirt that's not buttoned at all and I'm not wearing a shirt underneath it, that means I'm a retired detective in Hawaii.
Yes.
Yeah, you are on the beach. You are drinking whiskey.
Sweaty
Well,
and the
with-
Why
prerequisite
not
is that I'm
rum
overweight
whiskey in Hawaii?
You are divorced
multiple times.
multiple times. But yeah, that's
I
That is,
definitely would not
the only
retire to
possible.
Hawaii. It is
So
it is
expensive.
far too warm
and expensive.
and expensive. Damn tourists.
True.
There we go. Pick up a little box.
My cousin lives in Hawaii.
Why?
Because
Like it's a
Do they
life.
like hot and humid weather?
that's where she works.
I don't know. I don't really think that's a good enough excuse.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I could
where
have
she's-
given a much better excuse if you gave me a little bit of time.
All right. I'll
It's like
I'll give you a
it's
little
like
bit
why
of
do you
time.
live in Hawaii? Ancient curse.
Yeah. I was bound here by the elder gods.
By Pele herself.
Yeah. By Pele, the soccer player.
Specifically, yeah.
Ugh.
He hit me in the head with a soccer ball. Now I don't know where I'm going.
Yeah,
So-
I was too busy worshiping Messi and forgot to worship Pele. It happens.
It does
I actually
happen. It
have a
happens to the best of us.
family. If I remember, I have a family friend whose father actually played with Pele. If I'm
Holy
remembering
shit.
correctly,
That's fucking sick.
He was the ball.
he was involved. And that's why he's currently in Hawaii
Well,
because he couldn't get out.
damn.
Not real, not true, but you know.
These
should
soccer
be correct.
gods really need to be like,
Need to
I don't
chill
know.
out.
How do we stop them?
Soccer Gods is really ripping up the charts on Shonen Jump right now.
I see.
After the death of in any sports anime, think of one, Zach. Kuroko no
I
Basket.
should 21. There you
Oh,
go.
God.
I had to
Kuroko no
think of
Basket.
one. I was like, oh shit, I don't watch this fucking garbage. I don't
How
know.
dare you?
Status
Kuroko is
report.
good.
I watched an episode and was like, "This is all right," and then I never watched anymore.
Bro, I'm
was
just
the-
a
what was
huge
the-
fan of basketball, so that's
What was
like
the football
of the
one that
reasons
Terrence
why.
was really into?
I Shield
Football.
21. It's really good.
I believe that it's
finished
really good. Will I ever watch it? Maybe. But I remember Terrence like getting everybody like a sticker for like the character that he thought that they were like closest to or like would be.
Yeah.
And he got me like some like fucking string bean blonde hair who just uses an assault rifle
No, he's
on the
sick
field.
as hell. Yeah, he does. His whole
was-
thing is he's fucking hilarious.
And I was like,
He's
how
like
does
a
that
con
remind you of
man.
me? That's not fair.
That dude's sick as hell. He uses like
believe it.
rocket launcher on the field.
On the field. All right, Grant. I want to
Yes.
hear about your close encounter with Vlogkind.
Yes. So,
Block
like
Parasite.
a week ago or something, Lily Pichu released a video about a vlog she
Grant
did.
was in it.
Well, so she went to San Francisco or whatever, and so I was watching it because every now and then I watch Lily
Wouldn't it be
Pichu.
funny if like it's like, and this is GDC in the background, and it's just Grant.
Yes, Zach.
Kind of walking around.
So she went to GDC.
What? Oh wait, yeah, you said that, didn't you?
Yeah, and so
Oh!
there is a section that luckily I grabbed beforehand while we were talking about shirts. There's a section. I'm not directly in view, but I distinctly remember because I didn't recognize her. Obviously, I was walking by. I saw this dude first who was manning the booth, and I'm like, dude, it's like 80 degrees in here. Why the fuck are you wearing a sweater? And then I looked at, I'm like, damn, this bitch is wearing a varsity jacket. What the shit? And then I turned back to talk to Jesse and Judith, and then I'm
That
like,
was Lily
oh,
Pichu.
that was Lily Pichu.
You were so close, Grant.
Literally walked right behind her.
Oh, that's
So I was
great.
like, oh.
Oh,
So yeah,
Grant,
I straight up didn't know.
Like I know GDC isn't really like a fan event or whatever, but that'd be funny if I did the same thing to her that I did to Markiplier that one time.
That you fucked Markiplier's day. That you fucked Markiplier. Congratulations
I
on
did-
that, by the way.
Oh my god, what a gentle lover he was. But yeah. That's great. That's funny.
Yeah, so that was
What does this have to do with
straight
Michael
up
Reeves?
because he was also in the video. Presumably he's filming it.
Wait, he also went to GDC?
They're dating.
Oh. Well, that's
Yeah.
interesting. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
they're boyfriend and girlfriend, Michael Reeves and Lily Pichu. So yeah, yeah, I just remember seeing that. I'm like, damn, what the fuck? It's so hot in here. Why are these people wearing warm clothing? What the fuck?
It was
And then
really
anyways,
that, it was
hey,
really
Jesse
that
and Judith,
warm on
how's
the
it
show
going?
floor?
I mean, like I said, we got dehydrated that
Oh.
day, so it might have been because of that. So
Don't worry, Grant. Next GDC, when I'm there, I'm gonna be like, all right, everybody, do you have your water? And I'm just walking around with like a big... It's not even like a 10-gallon jug. It's like a 400-gallon jug just on my back. I'm just like,
I was
all
gonna say
right,
an
who needs
entire water
water?
cooler.
If I'm there too, I'll just pull out like a stack of like plastic cups. Be like, okay, who needs some? Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey,
Dude, this would be great.
It was real hot in there after walking around for 7 hours, but yeah, I just remember seeing that. I'm like, why the fuck are they wearing sweaters?
that's the takeaway from this.
Yeah, and I was like,
Who the hell
damn,
wears sweaters?
this guy's wearing a sweater. This bitch is wearing a varsity jacket. What the shit? Why?
Yeah, I
really
would.
great.
I'll definitely be melting. I run hot, so like, God, it'll be hell for me.
Yeah. So it was not. I mean, we were not drinking enough water, definitely. But yeah, so that was the vlog vicinity thing where I walked right by them.
You were almost YouTube famous.
I was almost an influencer, guys.
Amazing.
Oh. And then yeah, no, that's it. I did appear in that other one I did show you guys. That was another quick vlog of a guy
Where you
doing,
were
like,
where you
oh,
were just like
GDC
walking down
started.
the stairs.
Yeah,
like,
where
oh
it was
man,
fucking
where do I go?
Bigfoot sliding. Yeah. So yeah, that's my vlog vicinity topic.
That's great. That's fun.
Yeah.
The
Because
things
I just
that
saw
happen.
that I had.
Oops, sorry.
I was just gonna say I saw that clip and I had a fucking Jimmy Neutron brain blast of like, wait a minute,
that was right there.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's crazy the types of things that can happen to you when you actually go out and do stuff.
That is crazy. Right?
I was telling Zach, there's like my downtown is like put up like a little mini fair in its like thing, and I'm like, if only I had someone to go with, it would have been cool. But no, both you and Lawrence live an hour away from me.
It's a little
and Zach, I mean, Zach moved all the way to the East Coast to avoid me. So
I'm
like, you know, I
moving
can't.
to Europe relatively soon, so
exactly.
Yeah, get even farther
away. Yeah. I know you hate me, but still,
it's true.
He won't deny it.
Why would I ever deny something that's true?
Oh my god.
So I do have a topic that I want to talk about. I did put it in banter ideas because it's a topic that has been going around Twitter, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with it. Did you guys see the Activision Blizzard Overwatch diversity chart?
I looked at that.
All right.
So
I don't know if I understood what
I
was looking at, but
so
sure.
I posted the chart in the chat there, but allow me to explain to the best of my understanding based on the articles that I was reading. So Overwatch, one of the big things that they advertised and one of the things that they got a lot of praise for was how diverse the characters were in the game, which is a inherently good thing. Representation is important, and that's great. However, the reason why this particular topic is, on people's lips as being a bad thing is because it's really weird and super, like, psychopathic to try to narrow down the concept of human diversity into, like, 10 categories.
Oh my god.
It's like a robot trying to
like analyze
diversity.
what it means to be a human being.
All right. What is it to be diverse?
Right.
Well, sexual orientation, ethnicity, and
so the way that they calculated it apparently was that they took they like purchased the rights to actual demographic data in real life, right, in the real world, and they were like, okay, these are the average, like within these 10 categories or 12 categories or whatever, this is what the average person in this category is, right? So like the average age of a person on the planet Earth, the average sexual orientation of people, so on and so forth. That average is a 0 on the chart. If you make a character who is equivalent to the average of real life, they have a 0 on that point in the chart, right? The further out from 0 you get is how fringe in percentage you get in representation of that particular part of the demographic. So like in the example that I posted in the chat, Anna, I think her name's Anna. Yeah. She is quote unquote quite diverse in age because she's like 70 something years old or whatever. So like that.
She's an older
10,000 years old.
Now, actually, give me 1 second. I need to close my door. Ugh. Hello, I never left.
I can't believe it. He lied to us.
But
I didn't just see him disappear on
the other thing that the diversity chart takes into account is the representation in video games. So they bought the real world data, determined what the average person is in each of these categories, and then they took their own analytical data from across like video game history and the modern industry and determined what the average video game character is. So like the average human being and the average video game character are two different points of data. And so if you have something that is so like, for example, sexual orientation, most characters throughout video game history are like heterosexual or whatever, right? So Blizzard was like, oh, if we have a character who is gay, that is worth more points than if they were, let's say, tall. because there are more representations of tall characters in video games as opposed to gay characters. And it's just so robotic.
Inhumane.
And the thing is that I don't know if they necessarily should have done it differently. Because on one hand, I do still approve of like the overall diversity, but it goes from feeling like a genuine attempt at representation to just being like, oh, this is just like a corporate tool to try to get people to buy our game. Which obviously is what the game is for, but you know what I mean.
Though it's like you do have like consumers that like almost within like a not inhumane, but like they don't particularly care about any other aspect except for like you need to give me this. So that you do have people that like will just be like, I don't care about anything else, I just want this to like exist. So it's like they don't even care about like whether or not it's good or bad. Well, most people want it to be good. Like, let's be honest. Like, if you want to make a character, you want to make a good character. But then there are like some people who are usually very loud, who are like, you need to include this regardless of like whatever.
Inclusion is not the problem here. That is not why this is being discussed at all. The idea of having inclusivity and diversity in a franchise or a piece of media, that is not the problem. That's not like part of the discussion. The problem is distilling human existence into a set of 12 numbers is fucked up and weird.
But as you said, like I don't know how easily we could come up with an alternative system to like, you know, making sure to include the way like some people expect you to include it, or like because you still sometimes need to like keep track of some stuff, right? So it's like how
yeah, sure,
how would
absolutely.
the system change? You know, how would you change it? Because it's like on one hand, like you just like looking at it, like I don't like to a certain degree, like you're just looking at like the design aspect of it, like what matters more, like the way like they function to like create the thing, or like the creation itself.
It's the principle behind the creation seems to be the thing that I personally have a problem with under this particular circumstance, I guess. Grant, are you gonna weigh in at all?
No, I'm sorry. I'm like, you know those like kinetic sand videos where it's really satisfying.
Grant, what the fuck?
Yeah.
No, I'm not watching kinetic sand. I'm watching the game, and it's really like satisfying to just watch all the.
I think he's lying to us.
All the
Zach. I think he's watching kinetic
all the
sand
monsters
videos.
get
I may be watching
obliterated by Okami here. Grant, you should buy Vampire Survivors. It's very good. It's only like $3. But anyway, well, you know what, Grant? Fuck you. I want you to weigh in.
Oh man, I didn't prep for the boxing match though.
Just cut nipple hole into your shirt.
Okay. No, I agree that it's very robotic in the sense that you shouldn't distill all human characteristics down to
like 12
what is
categories.
it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
It is 10 okay.
Yeah. And then try to market your game from there. Like as Zach well put, it leaves less of a feeling of sincerity and wanting actual diversity in your game to just pandering or to your audience.
Couldn't it also potentially feel like, I don't know, sometimes people, I don't know if these exist or not, but it's like, oh, they have to fill this quota, right? That's why they have it in such like a technical way too.
Well,
where it's like it's either the pandering, it's either the tokenistic, or even like a quota filling thing. Like, who's to say whether or not, like, we can't, I don't know if any of us can say for sure it is like one thing over the other, but like all those things I think could lead to something like this.
Potentially. I don't necessarily disagree. Like, Grant might be familiar with this, but League of Legends was, you know, pretty egregious for this sort of thing for a period of time. And the best example I can think of was that there was a string of, I want to say like 16 female champions that came out in a row who all had the exact same like body type. And when afterwards, like years later, when the champion designers of those champions were asked about it, they were just like, yeah, we just never thought about it. We just made characters that were cool and we just totally didn't think about the body types sort of situation. And on one hand, that's a genuine mistake, and that's totally fine. But on the other hand, if they had a weird robotic system like Blizzard had with Overwatch, that system would have flagged like, hey, you're repeating the same body type too many times, maybe try something else. And that's where you get characters like Zarya and Zarya's a League female, unfortunately, but Zarya and Ana, and I guess technically that Centaur is a woman, but whatever. I don't know. Hopefully you get what I'm trying to say here, where it's just like it's a weirdly robotic system, but it did have its function, because I can't really think of, well, modern Overwatch notwithstanding, but like there aren't two Overwatch champions that really feel too similar visually, I guess. Similar.
I definitely will say I would like a system that would be, I think, good to have, like disregarding what that theirs is, like to like even simplify further down, just like have something to like help you show whether or not you're being too repetitive in some kind of way, right? Because it's like if everything starts to look the same, it's about like distinction, right? Because that's why they're like, oh, for artists, it's like you need to draw a character whose silhouette is so distinct, like you can recognize them instantaneous, right? So just having a system that's like, hey, you have a character who's had like, and these are where like you can break them down, I guess, if you want, by certain factors. Like you've already had a blue spiky haired character. Like if you want to do blue,
that's Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, like just like if you want to do blue hair, maybe have it like straight or something, like straight down or like whatever, right? So at least you're like aware of like what you've made, because sometimes it's like you make so much, right?
I feel like
you
that
may
should
lose
come
track
from
of
a human review rather than
a robot saying like, hey, you have used this body type 4 times within a year.
Yeah, I think it should.
Right, but what is that?
Review.
But it's like it almost feels like, I don't know, like why is that inherent? Like there's no moral attached to, like if you're like categorizing.
Well,
why though? Like
the
suddenly
robot doesn't have any morality
like,
attached to it, but the people who made the robot did, I guess. You know what I mean?
Well, if you remember, I'm not talking about like Blizzard's type of stuff. I'm talking about like if you were to just make a system to be like, okay, I have like blue and like spiky haired is like a variable, right? So it's like you input that. It's like that has no moral backing. Like if it tells me I have got blue spiky hair, I can still make a blue spiky haired character, right? I'm not being withholden by like the machine. But it's like it's just an informant, right? It just tells you you have made this. Like, do with that information what you will.
Be more okay with Blizzard's thing if it had like 200 categories instead of 10? Maybe. Actually,
but that just like, but it may not. It still may not have been as like useful. Like it may be redundant if you go to 200. Like too much is really too hard to keep up with. Like
well,
maybe
no, because then
it
turns into like an ongoing ledger. Like trying to boil down human existence into 10 categories seems psychopathic, but I don't know, maybe 200 categories would be enough in order to cover the vast majority of what a person could be represented voluntarily as. You know what I mean?
Maybe, but like, remember when we talked about like when you try to make something that has a limited amount of time to capture like the attention of someone, sometimes you have to go with something that's the most recognizable. Right? So people can identify quickly what they're looking at or reading or whatever. Like, could that not be applicable? Like when you start going to that extent, like to 200, right? Everyone has nuance, right? But like you're trying to get your point across, right? And like the easiest way to get your point across is to like do something that people expect more. Choose someone. You have 5 seconds. 5, 4,
death.
3,
Sure. I'll pick the OP character. Why not?
Oh yeah, Mask of the Red Death.
Okay, let's do Forsaken. There we go. And I need the one that bounces the axe. There you go. Or the scythe, rather. Look how fast I am. Fast as fuck, boy.
Ooh.
All right, anyway. I need to make it perfectly clear that I'm not disagreeing with Saba. Obviously, I don't know, because it's just like, the thing is that like, how would you do this otherwise, right? Where it's like, okay, someone designs an Overwatch character and it goes through like 3 waves of reviews by your peers, right? But then it comes back and it's like over time and it's like, oh, we accidentally kept making too many, I don't know, black characters or something like that, where it's like now there's like a weird overrepresentation and it's like, now people call you out on it because it's like, oh, you're not actually being diverse, yada yada, blah blah blah. Whereas this machine that they rigidly followed did ensure that they had a diverse cast, at least for a while. So it's like,
well, I think a couple of the stuff that, once again, I think sometimes people assign moral weight to something that maybe doesn't actually have moral weight to it. Like you're projecting moral stuff onto it. Like the system, and you are they like if you religiously
is
follow a
inherently
system
moralistic,
like that.
Though.
No, yeah, but like the system for which you include it, right? You're talking about like and this is the kind of stuff that's like you're bringing that onto like how you end up doing that. Like, right, you're talking about it's the process versus the outcome now again. Like truly, like how much does the process matter? Now we're not going to like super egregious extents. Of course, things can get egregious, right? But if the outcome is still good, right? Why are you assigning like such heavy moral weight to like the process?
Good question. Do you have a response to that, Grant?
It
just feels gross, right?
But it's like, why?
It feels insincere.
But how would you do
again,
it? How would you
why?
do it sincerely?
Yeah.
Humanely, through human.
Once again,
So I'm watching Kinetic Sand.
Yeah, make everyone in the thing watch Kinetic Sand, and then they'll have an open mind. Yeah.
Honestly.
Grant is being fucking hypnotized while we're having a discussion.
Well, because I made the Kinetic Sand comparison, and then I was like, what if I did watch Kinetic Sand?
Grant.
Oh, so now you are watching Kinetic
Grant.
Sand. Nice.
But
Grant,
there's Kinetic
The
Sand.
prophecy has been fulfilled.
Zach, I don't think you understand. I don't think you understand.
I don't think you understand. He's being consumed
Grant,
by it now.
come on.
I don't think you understand.
I don't think you sand.
That's true. I don't think you Kinetic Sand, Zach.
I don't.
You're a fool. I don't know. I think it boils down to I just hate Blizzard a lot.
I mean, sure.
But then what if like a different company was the one that was using this diversity algorithm?
It'd still feel weird.
Right? I think it's so to answer Saba's thing of like, well, what if you're applying morality to something that doesn't need to have morality applied to it? I think there is an inherently human response to the modern day disillusionment of humanity. Like the idea that you can effectively, through some like algorithmic output, simulate the human condition is fucked and weird from like a personal standpoint. You know what I mean?
That's
So it's like
fine, I guess, but
the fact that I can't think of a happy alternative to this weird fucked up algorithm is upsetting inherently, because the algorithm did in theory do its job appropriately. It just did it in possibly the most grotesque way that they could have done it. Like the only way that would have been more cynical and insincere would have been the literal dartboard. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But instead of a dart, they throw
it's
like Nickelodeon gack at it, and it's like, all right, all of those
diversity
clearly, though, didn't
points.
they like put like some effort into like the system for the system to like be effective, right? So the dartboard, you're just throwing something at something and see where it lands, right? But actually, don't some people like do that too sometimes? Like where you're just like, well, let's just add this onto the character, see if it feels like good, and like continue with it.
Yeah, but not for like.
I'm about to say, but that's a human process, though.
Yeah.
So then the dartboard is fine.
No, well, the dartboard, the metaphorical dartboard is fine-ish. If your entire
but
design
you just said
is,
it's okay.
if your entire design is based on the dartboard, then that's bad
then there's
because
no
that's
like
too cynical.
intentionality. Like you're saying, it becomes too much like you're just putting pieces together.
If you have
like,
a character that you're
process.
designing and you're like, I don't know, I feel like this character needs something. Let's just try this, and you experiment with the design. That's one thing. It's the
intentionality is what you're saying.
If you're designing a character and you just turn to an algorithm and the algorithm says this character would be most effective if their hair was pink, you know what I mean? That's like that's like a different story.
So like I said, yeah. So you're kind of reflecting the idea of like intentionality behind like people in like their designs. It's frustrating a little bit, or like it's a little bit confusing, I think, to think about, because on one end I think this is the outcome of like some people saying like you need to have certain things, right? And if the company follows suit with what they think the market like thinks or like believes it wants, right? So if like some people are saying like, oh, it's unsatisfactory the way people are currently doing it, and they just, and this may be coming down to like the vocal people being like whatever, right? Because the company may be listening to vocal people, and they're like, okay, well, it doesn't matter anymore about like what your intentions are as a designer, we just need this, right? So it's like this kind of loop. You're looping from like either side is like pushing the ideas, because like the consumer side is like we demand more of this, to which maybe the designers in the company are like, well, no, we want some intentionality behind this. But then the people on top are like, it doesn't matter because the consumer said they want this, so you have to do it.
Doesn't that birth the algorithm?
Like which algorithm are you just like in general, like a computeristic kind of thing?
Like if they're just like, well, we need to. People are wanting diversity, so therefore we will create an algorithm that will give them exactly diversity, like statistically created diversity.
It could be like a less kind of like I'm thinking in my mind about it being like,
in my mind,
why take the risk of the designer creating something that someone doesn't want or the consumer doesn't want? How about we just, because it's like some of the consumers are so like loud and vocal about like, we demand like XXX. They're like, okay, why give the designers any option to go outside of XXX?
I would like to posit that in this analogy, I do feel like the majority of the vocal people that you're describing is the marketing team, not necessarily fans.
No, potential, but also marketing goes based off of their belief of what like the consumer wants, right?
Well, marketing goes based on what they think they can sell. Marketing hasn't really been based on consumer desire for a long time.
It's like a mixture, right? Technically, like sometimes what they think people want may not be, but then it also like may be like the most dumbed down, simplified version of what people like want.
I would
hence
describe
becomes insincere a little bit.
I would describe modern marketing as a mixture similar to how oil and water is a mixture. But maybe that's just me.
Who knows?
But anywho,
yeah.
Like, do you think that the outcome of being fucking diversity period of the present Overwatch algorithm, do you think that same thing could have been done with a team of like a more robust team that it was better equipped and given more time to do the hero designs, because it's like
I don't know if like
I
feel like indie teams wouldn't have this problem because like they're more in control of themselves, right?
That's kind of what I was
like,
getting at, you know?
Yeah, indie teams I think will have more control of them over themselves, and like normally like depending on what you're doing, right? Like if it makes sense to be diverse, like then people more or less like it makes sense, right? It's logical, right? If you're doing something based off of a specific area, like it makes sense that there's characters mostly from that specific area. Like they're in control of what they're doing.
They are
right?
in control.
Exactly. They don't have to really bow down to anyone per se, because like they're doing it. They've got the power, I guess. But like the bigger companies are like the risk factor analysis, all this kind of like big managemental
it's all
stuff.
about mitigating risk as opposed to actual
money.
as opposed to like actual creative.
You have to keep the machine running somehow.
Right,
yeah.
but you never mind. We're not talking about that. But I think we have more or less come to a consensus on this in terms of like I can summarize my opinions of the Overwatch algorithm simply by saying it doesn't feel like a human invention. It feels like a corporate invention. And I think that is a reasonable thing to say.
That's probably more realistic. I think that's more realistic, like, probably to say, yeah. Yeah. No need to go too much further. That's it. Wait, so did we... Grant's here, Zach. I'm assuming...
I'll believe it when I see it.
Okay, you're right. I can't
we may move
so
to Stanley
true.
Parable. We may not. We'll
No,
see.
I was gonna ask Grant. Did you have you seen the new Stanley Parable Deluxe edition?
I have not.
Oh, I want to show him at least a little bit. Zach.
I will say.
What do you mean you want to show him? Buy the game then.
I've never even played Stanley Parable. I will say.
It's pretty good.
Have you watched it?
Yeah, like I've watched my brother play some of it. I get the gist, the general gist, but I've never played it.
It's like pretty okay, man.
I will move to Stanley Parable if I get bored with our banter topics, because right now I'm having a good time. Because as I said before, I don't think Stanley Parable really leaves enough room for discussion.
Though if Grant hasn't seen it, it should still be pretty interesting.
I will take.
Any other
Could you?
Would you?
What other?
What?
Who?
What other video game franchises do you think would have benefited from the Overwatch algorithm?
I think
Are you
honestly,
asking what games should be more diverse?
Well, because it's just I'm thinking about it, where it's just like in the most in the most cynical and inhuman way possible. What game? I guess I'm more just curious as to like what would a game look like if you did put it through this algorithm and change all of the character designs based on like ones and zeros as opposed to like human interpretation.
I would say games that have a ton of characters. And like
Genshin Impact.
Yes.
Genshin's actually pretty like interesting. Like on one hand,
every character
like,
is a twink.
they have to like fit a little bit of like a mold of like a type, but they have like pretty interesting areas, along with like characters that I think are like really character, like personality and all this other stuff. Like I appreciate it for what it is. I know some people complain about some stuff, to which on one hand, like I'm looking at them side-eye, like being like, you realize that what you're like thinking is inherently like wrong to begin with, right? But I'm speaking about something specific that I don't need to get into right now. Oh yeah, 100%.
Saba does hate diversity.
I'm just wondering where's the beef, honestly.
Beef, bro. They only gave us Ito. You saw that
I know,
that, like,
but
beef
that's
boy?
one out of
I know. I'm
and he's
telling
not even
you,
that
everyone's
beefy.
demand. No, he's
I'm
pretty
saying
ripped. Okay.
I'm saying he needs some beef on him.
He needs extra beef. Okay.
He needs extra beef. He needs that 100% all-American beef on him.
I agree. I want even like just give me like a little bit older, a little bit beefier. Like I'll chef's kiss that as well. Right, but I guess I'm just not shoving my throat up. But
Oh my god.
He's just rolling. But yeah, I would say, yeah, games that have like a lot of characters and like a pretty good like developed like open world, or not open world, but just like a developed world lore, I guess. Which I kind of already have one game in my head, but I'm gonna let you guys.
I'd say the Lego games, all the body types are the same, and that's kind of
literally every character has the exact same body type.
It's a little weird that Traveler's
Grant, you
want to
see this weapon?
What's this? Say onion?
It's the
Union.
It's a union weapon, meaning that multiple different weapons. So both of my double pistols are now being combined into quad pistols, but the quad pistols do this.
Oh my god. Jesus Christ. I think Among Us.
Among Us could use some diversity.
Yeah.
Sure.
They got like different colors and hats, but they all kind of, blend together. I'm just saying.
I'm just thinking of like a tall Among Us.
Tall Among Us. I want a really short, like squatty.
But aren't they in like suits? Isn't that why they look?
Yeah, they can make different suits.
Don't they already do that? I remember seeing one being Charizard. That's a different kind of suit.
Should be Charizard. I'm just saying.
Like, cause I guess when I think about it, it's like, at what, like, how, like, if a group in a video game is small enough, doesn't it get kind of weird when it's a little too diverse, I guess, compared to like the size of the group? Because I'm thinking about like in TV shows, they like in the early 2000s, late 90s, like sitcoms would have like the token black guy, and that was obviously like a quote-unquote effort to be more diverse in their casting choices or whatever, but it came across as being more of a requirement as opposed to like an actual decision, where they were just like, oh, this character exists and his race doesn't really matter, so let's just make him a black guy. You know what I mean? I could list like 6 different shows that did that.
They do push the idea of like, well, if it's culturally relative, then it's like you also have to be aware of that, because some people will be like, you have to be aware culturally of like, let's say if you create a black character, like it's kind of devolved from like, I think I agree to a good extent with you with like sometimes a good character can be like whatever, right? But if you start bringing in like historical / cultural stuff, then it becomes kind of like, okay, well now you have to be at least a little bit aware of what you're doing, because it has to be like accurate.
Sure. that's a little bit out of the wheelhouse what I was getting at. Essentially what I was trying to build to was just, wouldn't it be kind of weird if like the Phantom Thieves were as diverse as Overwatch? That's what I was getting at.
No, I kind of get what you're saying.
Because the Phantom Thieves is like a group of like 6
logical.
people. Could you imagine if each person in the Phantom Thieves was like so, like they didn't share any demographics with their fellow Phantom Thieves aside from living in Japan?
I was gonna say, then you get, the Captain Planet, Power Rangers rainbow of people, or in the earlier case in the 70s, the Super Friends, when they added on their diversity group.
And also, I think it goes back to logical as well. Like, if it starts to feel illogical, I'm like, this feels weird. Like, this feels like there's something going on that like I'm not privy to, and it just feels kind of weird. Like if like in Japan, I'm like, yeah, you more or less like expect the people to be like Japanese. Of course, there's other people there, but like by default, if you're like in Japan, it makes sense, Japanese. But like if you suddenly start including people that like people are like, how did they get there? Like on one end, I mean, perhaps they're there.
That's different though, because that's like perception. Because like one of the things that I thought was really great, and I don't know, maybe Grant will agree with me on this, was in the show Hilda, there's this really great underspoken thing, which is that in this Scandinavian village in the middle. Well, it's not even really in the middle of nowhere, but in this like Scandinavian city, there's like a perfectly normally proportioned Middle Eastern population.
But that's interesting, right? Because on one hand, right, if you have like maybe Scandinavian, okay.
Because
Be careful with this kind of stuff, because you
because
just
what I
reminded
mean
me
to
of something
say,
else.
what I mean to say here is that a lot of stuff where I feel like a lot of stuff where people go like, oh, that's weird. It's not actually weird. It's just that either no one's
it's
thought
just
about
out of
it.
the norm.
Well, it's not even necessarily out of the norm. It's just like it's not portrayed in popular media that much.
Well,
You know
because
what I mean?
it's probably it doesn't like once again, right? Other people
you're gonna
exist
say
within
you're gonna
probably
say it's
certain
not being
areas, but-
portrayed because it's not there, and I disagree.
No,
I do
it is there. It's just not as much. Like people are not like when you think of once again like Japan. It's like you don't default to thinking of like other people, like foreigners in Japan. You think of Japanese people. Like
People are everywhere. I've
True.
seen them.
I was about to say,
Antarctica as well,
There
with the
are
penguins.
there are all sorts of people all over the place, and it's the sort of thing where it's just like,
God, it feels like we're in a rave looking at.
well, because of all the lights.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God.
You're gonna love it when I get my next Arcana and I pick the projectile speed one, because every 5.3 seconds all of these lights will be moving 200% faster.
Oh God.
It's gonna be awesome. Anywho,
About to throw up in the club.
I need water.
Please.
You take whatever the glasses you shoot, and then you're like, "That's not water." No.
Japan. I think Japan in particular is a tough nut to crack in this particular conversation, because
What kind of nut?
What kind of nut? Walnut.
Tell me
Definitely
the-
not the one that Shinzo Abe wants.
Excuse you.
Prime Minister Shinzo Abe is no
right,
longer
'cause of the
asking
decline
you.
of the
He's
birth rate.
telling you to fuck,
Please,
have
just,
sex,
please just have sex, you fucking.
have children for the love of God. Fuck, I'm no longer asking.
I'm no
have
longer
sex.
asking. I am spraying aphrodisiacs all over all of our national crops. You will
Have
fuck even no matter what.
Aphrodisiacs.
Oh
man.
Did you? By the way, speaking of Japanese people being horny, did you see the?
Are you
There
calling
was a
Grant
lady.
out?
There was a
Like,
Wait a
lady
minute.
on.
What is this?
There was a
I know
lady on
that.
Instagram.
How do you know that?
There was a lady on Instagram who was like, "Hey, I'm not really into the whole video game scene, but my niece, we went out to eat, and she says that I just so happen to look a lot like Lady Dimitrescu. Isn't that kind
Oh
of
my
weird?"
God, I saw that.
Yeah, did you see that? First off, she
Oh my
super
God.
does. She's obviously like not
She
9 feet
does.
tall, but people are putting like
Unfortunately.
people are putting like two and two together. And there's like this rumor going around where she did in fact date the director of Resident Evil 7 at one point.
Oh.
And
Oh my
based
God.
on, other things where you can like look up on her social media, she does seem to have a very like dominant personality, I will describe. And while she is obviously not 9 feet tall, she is like 5'9", 5'10", whereas the director of Resident Evil 7 is like 5'2". So from his perspective, she was a giant. So it's like, so you start putting all these things together, and it's
Makes
like,
sense.
did
It's
you
all
just
coming
put
together.
in? Did you just put in your ex into this video game because you were trying to like convey to the public how aroused while also terrified you were of this woman?
Hey,
She's
I mean,
a blood
that's-
sucking whore.
That's where you get inspiration from, right? Reality, like real life.
Art
I do
imitates
really
life.
like that though.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Jesus
Gold
Christ.
fever! Let's go! Gold! I love
Oh my God, there's so much to it.
gold. Anywho,
No.
okay, what you want to keep talking
Done.
about the fucking diversity topic?
No, I just we should just stay silent for the rest of the stream.
We're not gonna do that.
It's silent reading time, Zach.
I don't.
Let's go grab our books, kids.
Yeah.
Okay?
I would define that as
Reading
wasting
to
my
chapter
Sunday, so I
3
refuse.
today.
Pull out your book.
What y'all reading, huh?
I still have to go back to Sherlock Holmes. I just like every time I go to like sit down and read it, I get like a couple pages in and I'm like, man, I just kind of want to watch TV. I'm tired.
I am gonna be starting Ask Iwata, which is the book about Satoru Iwata and his words of wisdom.
Oh my god, I want to read
Nice.
His
this.
life. My brother got it for me for my birthday, and so I'm very excited.
Awesome.
Cool.
Hey Grant, I have a question.
What up?
You work a job.
Unfortunately,
And you said that your job can even go like over 40 hours a week sometimes.
Oh no! So I misspoke because it was early when you texted me that, and I was like, or I think it was early. I don't know. I wasn't thinking.
He's
no.
he's overselling himself. He's like, I worked 40 hours when it was actually 20.
I can't do it, but in a pay period, and a pay period is 2 weeks. I can't go over 56 hours because I'm part time.
Oh, okay. So never mind. I am the only full-time employee.
Yes,
of the group.
I'm
okay, never mind then.
part-time.
Because I was gonna ask how you like, because I said this before whatever, but I said this before, but it's just like, fucking working 5 days in a row sucks ass.
Yeah.
Because it's just like I don't feel like I have fully recovered from the previous day when I clock in for work the next day, and the week is so long that by the end of the weekend I don't feel like I have recovered from the previous week. So it's just like I've only been working this job for like 4 weeks. I think this is like week 5 I'm going into tomorrow, but it feels like it's whittling me away like over time, where I'm just like, dude, fuck. Like I don't even mind. I would work like if I was allowed to like pick my own schedule, I would work like 3 days and then get a day off, and then like 3 days and then get a day off. You know, if that makes sense, because it's literally just like the 5 days in a row that kills me.
Are you a proponent for taking Wednesdays off?
Uh-huh.
Because I feel like I've seen the system of they're just like, give us like Wednesday off, and then like I don't know.
I am a huge proponent
Saturday.
of the 4-day work week. The only reason the 5-day work week exists is because of the erosion of fucking workers' rights and stuff. What does this say? It's okay, bro. I love coming home from work and going straight to bed so I can go to work again tomorrow. It's so fulfilling, bro. I swear, bro. Well, because I mean, and that's the thing, and like, and this is the because like I can't talk about this with any of my family members because they all just immediately default to like ageist comments or whatever. But mom's like, your
generation.
Well, exactly. She's like, first off, she's like, you're 25. You shouldn't be tired after 8 hours of work. And I'm like, go fuck yourself. And the second thing she says is like, you work from home, so you don't have a commute. When you clock off of work, you have like 6 hours until you go to bed. Why can't you recover in that amount of time? And it's like, well, because
are you
like
sure you recovered? Like
two
misremembering?
2 of those 6 hours are spent like doing chores and getting ready for the next day, and then 1 of the remaining 4 hours is dedicated to like me trying to wind down for bed, because if I don't wind down for bed, I just won't go to sleep that night. So it's like I only get like 3 hours to like chill, and most of that time recently has been spent like job hunting.
Woo.
Whoa.
All right, let's see. Did I get the speed? I don't think I got the speed. Ah, I didn't get the speed.
Turn it off. Kill stream. It's over.
Chuck the table. Chucking the table may be difficult, so flip it.
Table flip.
I'll get... Man, these all suck. I'll get this. It's fine. Anywho.
Fulfilling, bro. I swear, bro.
Did the razors get bigger?
if you pay
Lasers?
attention, I got an arcana that makes it so that way the area, like the size of everything that I'm shooting, whether it be the blue fire or the sides or whatever, like goes from 200% size.
Oh yeah, periodically
to 75%.
gets bigger and smaller. Yeah.
Anywho, but yeah, I was gonna ask how you like unwind after a day of work, because it's just like I find myself just immediately flopping onto the couch and being like, dude, I don't want to fucking move. But then that makes me like feel like I'm wasting my time. You know?
No, I mean, I don't know. Find some outlet for it of stress or just being able to unwind, like playing guitar, games, or just like I just sit down and like stare at a computer screen for an hour and then just don't do anything. I don't know.
It's like I wish that there was like a sliding scale, because I know that the US functions entirely off the Protestant work ethic, but it's just like I wish that there was like a sliding scale where it's like, hey Zach, you've worked 4 weeks in a row without taking a single break. Here's a 3-day weekend. You know what I mean? Just like a little bonus every once in a while where it's like, thank you, I appreciate that.
I forget what it was. I remember seeing it like on a news article a week or two ago, but California was looking into lowering the average hours of the work week from 40 to something less, I believe.
I would hope so. That's typically how you lower something.
Yeah, I mean, you never know.
Could you imagine that if the bill was like
45.
lowering work hours and it goes from like 40 to 80 and people are like, wait a minute.
wait a minute.
I just, as long, I don't know, I feel like we're heading in the direction of like work too far, like encompassing, because it's kind of like compared to some like Asian.
What do you mean moving towards it? We've been there since the fucking 60s.
No, I'm telling you, I feel the Asian countries are like way worse than us. I feel like we haven't reached their levels
sure,
yet.
But
is
that
what I'm
doesn't mean
saying.
that it's not bad here.
No one's saying it's not bad. I'm saying like I hope we can like not get to that point that they're at.
Okay, that's what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm like I really hope it doesn't become like that. I wish even for them like they like do something about it, like, because dang, like it like for them it's like your life is like your job. And it's so weird because I even heard them saying like and like my reference is Japanese stuff, so like Grant, if you like know better than me, please let
My
me know.
reference is anime.
My reference is anime. Or like but it's like I've heard sometimes that they don't even care
Do they have
about
national
what you're
healthcare in
doing,
Japan?
just as long as you like stay in the company even after hours, because it's like it's about the idea of showing dedication to the company. Like you may not even be doing anything.
Well,
So it's like that feels insane.
Similar to that, it's the amount of work, because I believe they have a 6-day work week,
God.
which contributes to the economic boom in Japan in the late 20th century, where it was, hey, if you work more, you get like promoted and make more money. And that doesn't exist anymore, but everyone who is at the top now who did that back then is like, yeah, you should be working
That's,
more
like,
so you can be me. But it doesn't work like that. And so people still work the amount of hours but are not getting the benefits that were dished out during the economic boom.
Yeah, it's just
and so, which is why Japan has such a high suicide rate.
No, yeah, and it's just like, come on, man. It's like it's like you said right there, because they're like, oh, it worked for us, so you guys should do it. But it's like, it's kind of like the idea of like, oh yeah, you had to suffer with something, and like that's like how you got, like, you know, to some degree challenge is like necessary, but it's like you were sleeping on like the factory floor and then like barely able to eat and were like throwing up every other, like it's like you couldn't actually eat regular. I'm sorry you went through that, but at the same time, I don't think you should promote anyone else to go through that, right? Because it's like you can still provide people challenges so they're like, you know, work to where they get, but it's like, no, I don't think you need to go through that to like get there. Like, and it's like, I feel bad for you, but it's like you, even what you did wasn't necessary. Like, you shouldn't have had to do that.
Well, it's also the common phrase, and it's not just work with people being like, well, life's so much easier for you now. It's like, good. That's a good thing.
That's like
life
the
is easier
objective.
for people. Yes, like life shouldn't be hard for
Like we're trying to
know.
improve it, right? That's the point.
Yeah, it should. I don't know, man.
But,
The thing that I was reading, and obviously this is in
discrimination.
the context of like the American generations and whatnot. But one of the things that I was reading that I thought was quite interesting was the theory that one of the reasons why the older generation in the U.S. will be like, well, I had to pay my college bills, so why should you get them off or whatever, right? Despite like not understanding how economics works and stuff like that. The theory is that a big proponent of that is people not wanting to admit that they were complacent. Like they could have not dealt with it, but as opposed to recognizing it as a problem and trying to fix it, they just allowed it to wash over them and survive.
I mean, maybe, but like, it's like half and half. Like, there's a little bit of that, but then it's like you can't be too entirely unempathetic to like someone who had to like who was just like living day by day, trying their best. Maybe they truly didn't know any better. And then saying like, well, it's like you didn't do it, so like you shouldn't feel guilty at all about like someone else getting off scot-free or something like that. Like you can still be like, obviously if people can help out each other, that's like fine, right? But you can still at least be somewhat empathetic to like, I get it, right? But it's still a better option to help people out, right? And like stuff like that. It's just like, you never want anyone to like go through like too much hardship. So like you feel bad for like people who kind of have, but it's like, yeah, let's try to improve things for everyone.
Life quality should improve as time continues.
Hopefully. Though sometimes it seems like some places like they get better on one front and then they get worse on another, being like the work aspect of it. I guess it's in our conversation that we're talking about. It's like it's so weird, man, right? You think that once one thing gets better, everything else should kind of be like follow suit. That's not
My
the case.
mom watches The View a lot because she's an old white lady, and one of the things that, because I was trying to not pay attention while I was just making my lunch or whatever, but one of the things that they were talking about was they were discussing who's been a better president so far, Donald Trump or Biden, and it was like two of the hosts were arguing back and forth, and the host who was on Trump's side was like, Trump might not have been a great person, but just look at how quickly he recovered the economy. And I thought about it for a second, and I was like, he didn't actually like recover the economy. He got Wall Street to start moving upwards again. And I feel like that's something that a lot of people neglect to understand, is that Wall Street does not represent the American economy. It represents,
I was just about to say that.
It represents an extremely narrow window of one aspect of the American economy. You know what I
But
mean?
one that's like really visible to people.
Well, it's not even just
may
incredibly
seem-
visible. It's also like very covered. You know what I mean? Because it should be noted that the National Wealth Index has been perfectly available and updates literally 10 times per second.
Well, yeah. What I'm saying in terms of visibility is sometimes people are knowledgeable because they can see things, so that's why maybe they value the stock market, or like it takes a bigger space in their mind just because they're not aware of the other stuff.
Right. So as I said, it's because
Yes.
Wall Street gets covered as opposed to
Yes.
things that are more appropriate or relevant, And so I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's like, I've heard other people make very similar arguments in terms of like, well, the economy's doing much better, and it's like, it's not.
One aspect of it maybe, but you gotta look at the whole picture.
We're rounding the corner on year 3 of a pandemic era recession, and believe it or not, despite me finally getting a job and things maybe turning around a little bit for me, I am perfectly aware of the fact that the U.S. economy hasn't even recovered 5% of what it lost during the recession of 2020. And it's like, that's spooky to think about. but yet everybody's like, oh, well, we got to get back to work.
We live.
Do we though? Actually,
No.
I'm about to say I'm not exactly confident that we live at all. I'm pretty sure we just exist until we die at this point.
Well, that's always been there.
No, there have definitely been generations that were allowed to live. Like, did you know that during the dawn of the commercialization of the automobile,
hey.
gas companies purposefully, artificially kept the price of gas low to create a cultural dependency on the automobile and gasoline? And then as soon as it was like properly established and they had enough lobbyists in like Congress and stuff, they effectively flipped the switch on their systems and started just increasing the price of gas because no one could say otherwise. And it's like, that's allowed, apparently. You can just do that.
I mean, there's a lot of things.
True. There is a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
There is a
Yeah.
lot of things.
Oh, but Zach, when I was like responding to you, I was speaking in the most nihilistic sense possible. I'm like, yes, we do exist, and simply move on past
And then
and
just
back.
die.
True.
Anywho.
Hey, Vsauce Michael here. We exist, or do we?
Or do we? Alright, that's probably...
I remember
Oh my
when we
god, I
managed
have
to kill
more
one of them.
revives.
It's
Red Death, why?
Vsauce. He's coming after you.
There we go.
Oh, there it is.
All right, we got
Okay.
a bunch of gold for that. There
Isn't
we go.
Mask of the Red Death and Edgar Allan Poe story?
Yes.
Mask of the Red Death. Yes. Once again, what is the? I always like because I'm familiar with that though. I'm pretty sure the ones that I read were the Cask of Amontillado. If I said that correctly. And Telltale Heart, was it?
Yeah, Telltale Heart.
Those were the two I definitely remember. What was the
Classic.
What was
Hit
the
in
mask
pendulum.
one?
The mask one was where it's like a bunch of rich people are hiding inside their villa while like civilians outside are dying of a plague. And it's like this really interesting like metaphorical narrative about like how the rich thought that their money, wealth, and prestige would be able to keep them from the plague outside, but it got them just like it got literally everybody else.
Okay, I don't think I recall that one. No, I
It
think
had a
then,
bunch
yeah,
of
I
rooms.
was
Each one had like a color to it, which
No,
was
yeah.
an interesting
I
aspect.
don't think I'm aware. I think the two that I had was the two that I said. There may have been like one more, but I don't recall what that was.
Hit in the
If you
pendulum,
simp for
probably.
Edgar Allan Poe, are you an Edgar Allan Ho?
Bro.
Was
pretty-
that the?
Yeah.
Did Edgar Allan Poe ever marry? I don't remember.
He married his cousin, I believe, who was
Wasn't
like
that Charles Darwin?
13.
That was
He
a
did
lot
that
of people.
too. I'm
Zach.
pretty sure Edgar Allan
It was
Poe
a lot of
did.
people.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
Why are
Edgar
there
Allan Poe
why
did
are
that as
there
well.
so many famous people who just marry their cousins?
It was just a thing. It was just a thing
was-
back then.
Yeah,
Even like relatively
weird.
like not even that back, but it's like not that back, not far back.
that
like
back.
still
Not that back.
relatively back.
Hey
Not
yo,
bad.
hey
Carrying
yo,
a lot of
cuz,
weight on
throw
that
it back.
That's what they're doing.
Oh god, no.
We're in the early 19th century. Fucking kick it, dude.
Kick it, dude.
I know
So
we
I
just
know,
met
like-
at this family reunion, but I have never seen you before. Let's have fucked up deformed children. That's not true. You can
No,
sometimes have
that's-
fine children with
no, that's
with
not
your
true.
cousin, but that's not fair.
It depends on like how far like removed you are, because it's like it's interesting,
I think,
right? 'Cause
I
there's
think
this,
legally you're allowed to marry your cousin that's like 4th or 5th time removed. Because then it's like, are you really even related at that point? Like if you have to go so far back that you're like 4 or 5 times removed, I'm pretty sure like me and my neighbor are 4 or 5 times removed from each other.
I think
you know what I mean.
also back more a little bit
Zach
more back in the
Morning
day,
for
they
Data's
were
neighbor.
just like right. If there's
Excuse you?
status,
She's
right?
like 80.
If you're within the family, you have like similar status, so it was like easier to keep up the status quo. I only joke.
Ooh.
Yo, what a funny joke, Saba.
What a funny
you.
joke.
Fun here.
I am the local dad joker.
Local dad.
Both of
His
them.
Congratulations.
At the same
Dad
time.
Joker is what happened after he had too much alone time with Harley Quinn.
Oh god.
Oh god. What were we talking about?
Joker
I've lost the
fucking
sauce.
Harley Quinn.
Yeah, we were talking
okay.
about the intricacies of Joker fucking Harley Quinn.
Gotcha.
Canonical in the Arkham games.
We're not talking about this. All right.
Yes, we are. Now I'm taking over stream.
Sure,
No one
if you want to
talks
bring up a
comics,
banter
but
topic,
no.
feel free. When are
No,
we
I
getting
don't.
fucking the Harley Quinn animated show like next season?
Season 3 is in production. Don't know
'Cause-
when it's coming.
Cause like, man, I miss that show. It's real good. And like
Yeah.
they ended off on exactly the narrative that I wanted to see more of. Like,
shall
oh,
see.
what? It's like, oh my god, what a supportive and lovely couple. I can't wait to see Harley fuck it up.
Yeah. And now it's silent reading time again, everyone. Please bring out your books. Please study quietly. We lost the talking stick.
Oh, have you? Because I'm somewhat scrolling through Instagram to see if something pops up interesting. You know, some
It's
places,
Instagram.
whatchamacallit, they're like, oh, bring anything but a backpack to school.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking at this. This person brought their younger brother, their kid brother, to carry their stuff.
God.
I will say that I do like how like American institutions in response to like the recent epidemic of school shootings implemented rules where it's like you're not allowed to bring backpacks to school anymore, and the pretty much universal response was, Lamau, let's make a joke out of this.
Yeah.
That is what kids
Guys.
do.
No,
Yeah,
and
some bring
I'm saying like, and I'm
little
saying like,
electric kid jeeps.
Like,
Some
that's
bringing
pretty good.
coolers. Some being like, once again, the kid brother thing is pretty funny.
I
Pretty
would
sure someone
bring
bought, like,
I would
a
bring
fish tank
a
or some shit.
refrigerator on a
Yeah.
dolly. I think that'd be funny.
That'd be really
So
good.
you could just take out snacks whenever you want.
Well, it'd be my books, but yeah.
Well, it could be
Books
one of
that
those
just
like
also
you could
happen
keep
to
the
be
books in the
cake.
freezer, and then you could have the actual snacks in the fridge part. It's like one of those two. Yeah.
Hey, Zach, you have the Coke. I open up the thing and it's a refrigerator 100% full of Coca-Cola cans. I'm like, absolutely.
I just bring a microwave, plug it in.
Oh my god.
So, oh yes.
Well, no, I was gonna bring up my own thing, but I've already brought up too many. So what were you gonna say, Grant?
I was gonna bring up.
Anyway,
Creative
no, I'm just kidding.
All right. I was gonna bring
You're
up
getting the
Creative
my
Clash.
treatment.
It finished.
Oh
and,
yeah,
was a very
yeah.
interesting, cool event. Michael Reeves won his fight against Graham Stephan, and people were congratulating him on his technique and everything. Aaron Hansen lost his to Harley from Epic Mealtime, but that's also due to the fact that Harley was also 50 pounds more than Aaron.
Bro, they're not respecting the weight classes up in there.
They were trying, but it was like, oh my god.
I forget that Aaron, like, because when you said yesterday that Aaron was in like that's the heavyweight class or whatever, in my mind I was like, is he really like that fat? And then I forgot that he's like 6'2".
Yeah, he's like 6'2", and I think 2 something, but there is no like upper. It's heavyweight, and that's it. Like, there's nothing above it. So, yeah, and so Aaron lost, unfortunately.
Like I knew he would.
Oh,
Odd One's out. Kind of got his ass kicked by I Did a Thing, but it was
ouchie.
respectable.
Okay.
I did a thing was wearing cargo shorts, which not sure if that was even allowed, but why not? But yeah, he kind of got the business, but you know, it was all respectable. Everyone was in good fun. I watched Ryan McGee's fight, which was fantastic with Alex Ernst. Fucking Ryan can take a punch. Jesus Christ.
Oh.
They were the only match, I believe, that went 5 rounds. And Ryan only got knocked down once, I believe. And it had to go to judge vote. It was unanimous that Alex Ernst won, but Ryan can fucking take a hit. Holy shit. Let's see what else. Minx won her fight against Haley, and then the title fight of iDubbbz versus Dr. Mike. Dr. Mike ended up winning.
Seemed pretty solid outcome. People were
I mean, he could just heal himself in the ring. It was a little unfair.
Yeah.
For iDubbbz that
True.
he just got heal spammed throughout the whole thing, honestly.
Like fucking he was a Dark Souls character. He would just go to the side and take out his little doctor bag. No, he pulled out a doctor bag, and from the doctor's bag comes the Estus flask.
He also brought in summons against iDubbbz, which I don't think was very fair.
That's not cool. You can't just do that.
I know. He brought in Let Me Solo Her. But one of the things people were very upset about in the fight against with iDubbbz and Dr. Mike was Dr. Mike kind of hit him with a cheap shot in the very beginning, so they, you know, touch gloves, and immediately Dr. Mike just decks him in the face. And it was like, I mean,
hey,
technically not
war,
against
right?
the rules.
It's war.
Technically not against the rules. That is,
But dick.
yeah. Someone wanted to win.
Yeah, and so he did end up winning, and the part that was surprising to everyone was, I believe it was supposed to be
Started doing jiu-jitsu.
4 rounds, 3 minutes each. There was some miscommunication, and they went 5 rounds for 2 minutes each, which was unfortunate because it was clear that iDubbbz had gassed himself out in the 4th round.
Hey Greg, can you do me a quick favor before finishing?
What's that?
Can you hang up and call back real quick? Okay, please continue.
Is my audio messed up?
Yeah, you're just kind of Saba.
muffled.
Saba, you know how like I would constantly complain to you that's like, Saba, you're underwater.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can.
I'm
I don't
a
know
little
if you
bit
can hear
different.
it.
Like I just unplug and replug back in my thing. I don't know how he would fix
Is
his.
this any better?
Yeah, just make sure maybe you're
keep-
close to the mic and like speaking.
Keep talking. Don't do that.
Perfect.
Keep talking about iDubbbz getting his shit rocked, and we'll see.
Yeah, so he did get his shit rocked, but it was very good fight. And again, Dr. Mike did end up winning, but it was all in good fun. Basically, everyone after each of their matches like hugged each other, and it was very respectful, which was always cool to see.
Who organized this event?
iDubbbz and his girlfriend, wife. I don't know if they're married.
I think they're
Anissa
married,
wife.
aren't they?
Yeah, maybe.
Friend wife.
That's in
Friend wife. iDubbbz and Anissa Joma.
That's interesting.
So yeah, she was supposed to fight, but a couple months earlier suffered an injury and couldn't, so she had to back out.
Ah, okay.
But
Well, better safe than sorry, you know.
yeah, for sure. But yeah, so it was a very cool event, and all the proceeds are getting donated to charity.
As they
Nice.
should be. That's great.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what else. They had Chills as one of the casters, I believe.
Oh, I wanted him to be like the you know how they had like the girl in the center with the card, which is like the round number. That'd be great if it was him. He like walks out round 2.
Round 2. Yeah, he was live commentary, and I believe he was an interviewer, because they had Akinola, Wade Plemons, FaZe Sensei, XQC, Critical, S Fun TV, and Chills. So yeah,
There are a lot of content creators in the world, and it's weird that I don't know most of them.
The first fight I mentioned was Matt Watson versus Dad, and Matt did not last long. He was pretty down and out pretty quick there. I think it was 32 seconds, which pretty quick, and I believe he tweeted that
like under some legal definitions that might just be an assassination.
I think he tweeted out something like, "That's not the only time I lasted 32 seconds."
God damn it.
So yeah,
I'm trying to remember. Is Matt
cool.
Watson
That's how he
the tall
truly
one?
won the round. Okay, he may have lost the battle, but he won the war.
He won the war. Yeah. Was Matt Watson what?
Is Matt Watson the tall one?
Yes.
Okay. Every comedy
Nice. I
duo
too
has the
can
tall one and the
recognize
short
something.
fat one, so
Basically.
Yeah, there was a thing in one of their podcasts that they were joking about where they're like, yeah, I mean, comedy works better if there's a wait a minute, and then they just stop for like 5 seconds.
Isn't something about like contrast really big in comedy? So hence what you guys
Yeah.
are saying.
well, there's also just something I genuinely.
Hence if you wait.
Well, I genuinely
hence if you
think
put
that
me right next to Grant, that's when I'll look like a joke.
I
There
genuinely
we
think
go,
that
we're-
one of the reasons why
I
it
got
works
it.
so much, I think that there is like a cultural resonance going all the way back to Abbott and Costello.
I mean, the thing is also with this, they're not even that much different in height.
But they are different in height.
Well, that's same with Aaron and Dan. Aaron, they're
Well,
only
Aaron
like
and
half an
Dan
inch apart.
are the same height. It's just that Aaron's fatter than Dan.
I guess.
And that's why like in all of the fan animations he's the short fat one for some reason.
Contrast.
Like he's
there
not
you
short,
go.
but he is heavier than Dan. Like that's not a question.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I got
As
this
long as you can
big
pick on them about it, there you go. You got something to laugh about.
Yeah.
Mikey's
So, yeah,
in
Creator
chat. Say
Clash
hello
was
to
a cool
Mikey.
event. Hey, Mikey.
Mikey says, so you're fully committing to face cam? Maybe. I don't know. The face cam isn't really as bad as I thought it would be. The main thing that I was worried about with face cam was like random weird people coming in and trying to have like a conversation as if like they had walked up to me on the sidewalk. And needless to say, we are such a minuscule channel that is not a problem right now, and I'm super okay with that.
And hey, Mikey, for my underwater thing, I have to incorporate exercise somehow. Okay.
Plus, Zach can show his feet on stream now, so
I can
there
show
you
my
go.
feet on stream. Do you want to see?
Well, let me join first. Gosh.
The fact that you're not all well, never mind. You're not logged in, so you don't count as a viewer.
I'll one day make a Twitch account.
Hey Zach, so I saw you on the street going into Hot Top. Oh, funny, because you're on the sidewalk talking to me. You're a
Zach, you're
funny
going into
guy,
Hot
Mikey.
Topic.
You're a funny guy.
Zach going into a Spencer's, the back room of Spencer's.
Absolutely. I want to get as many fucking thick dildos as I possibly can before the apocalypse.
Fantastic. Before the dildo-apocalypse.
The dildocalypse. Let's go.
Yeah.
Tangent.
Cosine.
Cosine.
Sine. Cotangent.
Saba, do you
Can
think
I
that
steal this
Grant
tangent?
would be interested in a Fakemon discussion? Because I wanted to
Maybe,
talk.
I just don't know how much else I could talk about it unless you bring something up that I can spoof off of.
Well, because the one I was gonna ask was that if you could go back. I mean, I know that it might take a hot second, but like, I wanna ask Grant about his opinion of the starters that I sent you before, that are based on like U.S. states.
I can try to go find that.
It's
Zach, I wanna
either
get your
it's either a little
opinion.
bit back in on air or
You didn't send it to
between
me
you and
personally,
I.
did you?
I absolutely did multiple
Okay,
times.
good. I can just go to that.
I want to get your opinion on kinetic sand.
Grant, kinetic sand is obviously awesome.
Yes. Good.
That's the most obvious statement in the world.
Depends on the color.
Coldest of
Okay.
Does it?
I like
want the
the
color.
hot purple
I knew Sabe.
kinetic sand.
I knew it.
I knew it.
You know what YouTube channel I got into like earlier today, like before stream, because I woke up at like 9 today, which shows how fucked up my schedule is getting with work. Anyway,
Mr. Beast.
the YouTube channel is just this guy who does like 30 to 40 minute long videos covering different alternate histories from like fiction and stuff like that. And first off, I want to say I am both not surprised and disappointed by how many alternate histories in fiction are literally just what if the Nazis won.
Oof.
It's a big thing in history.
Well, because I
So-
mean, like clearly, like that's like the thing that a lot of people would immediately think of. But there are other ones that are really cool. Like one of the ones that I thought was interesting was he did a video on this one book that was about what if the Black Plague, instead of killing about 50% of Europe, killed 99% of Europe. Right? Like how would history change in that aspect? And
Okay.
it was interesting because the fall of the European empires like France and obviously mainland Europe eventually and stuff like that, or mainland England, was a sharp increase in Middle Eastern and like Indian dominance over that part of the continent, plus Russia. And it was just all this stuff where it's just like, well, because of like how timelines work. What?
No, sorry, I just heard the crunch of like a chip or something.
Don't make me.
I don't know. I was just gonna say that it was interesting because in this alternate universe, China was the one to discover North America, as opposed to, you know, Columbus or whatever. And so instead of it being called America, it had like some Chinese name that I can't remember off the top of my head. It was just like a lot of really cool details, and it led to a lot of stuff where it's just like the Chinese had just as much difficulty communicating with the Native Americans when they arrived on the West Coast, but due to the cultural differences between the West Coast Native Americans and the East Coast Native Americans, the West Coast Native Americans immediately were like, "No, get the fuck out." instead of being like, "Oh yeah, let's help," they were just like, "No, leave."
Okay. So
And I thought that was I thought
I'm
it
gonna
was
steal
great.
this a little bit. I didn't get the whatchamacallit reaction I wanted from Zach. So do you remember, Grant? I don't think I said this to you, but I think Zach brought it up on stream, where I don't know. I was looking at like whatever, like a visual novel thing in Steam, right? And then it recommended me something else, which I was like, oh my gosh, Zach, like, look, this is what it recommended me. And Zach was like, Saba, or like, when did you start playing like hentai games? And I was like, I swear, I'm not doing that. That's not me. And we talked about it. Do you remember this happening at all?
I fully believe that Saba buys visual novels and then Steam chooses to give her hentai visual novels as well.
True. So it happened again, and this is what I sent Zach, that this appeared on my like Steam page.
Oh my god.
I was like, where did this come from? Why is this happening to me?
Because it's anime, cute, RPG, and casual.
I know, right?
It doesn't even
That's-
have like a lewd tag, which is hilarious.
Yeah, there's no sexual content. It's fine.
Uh-huh. Until
Yeah.
you switch the thing, and then suddenly, bam!
When's the Mob
okay, I found the
Psycho
Pokemon thing as
season
well.
3 date, Mikey? Because
When are we playing this on stream, Zach?
There
Here's
you
Zach's
go.
thing.
So Grant, I want your opinion on these Fikmans.
Fickman? Does it say Oklahoma, Florida, and Texas now finished?
So this guy, Bro Jumbo, I think he's an excellent artist, needless to say. And he does a lot of like commission and also personal Fakemon work where he just like designs Pokemon. And I personally adore these designs, but I just wanted to show them off, I guess.
These are very
And then
fun.
I made the note that they're all on 2 legs, so that immediately disqualifies half of them. Which half, I don't know.
One of them doesn't even have legs.
Even worse. Less legs, even
And also
less
one
legs
of them is
than all.
standing on like a ball.
Yeah, one's one-legged. One's Minecraft
The
pit.
point is standing up.
I love the fucking
The fucking rock
Texas
cactus.
fire. No, the Texas fire type.
The one that's just a football player that's a bull.
Yeah.
It's really
Clearly
great.
just the Texan logo.
Although it did lead to a funny thing on his Twitter where he posted that. So he does like he doesn't do like a full thing, but for the final evolutions, he does give like a little synopsis of like the Pokedex entry for them or whatever, which includes their typing. So when he posted that the Texan fire starter would eventually turn into firefighting, there was an outcry within his fan base being like, dude, what the fuck? It couldn't have been like anything else. He couldn't have thought of anything else. And he went ballistic a little bit.
Not Fox. The skunk one's just a furry.
They're
like-
all just furries, especially the zombie possum.
Those
But-
What's a zombie possum? Am I missing it?
So he
right.
did it. So he
top
went on
right.
like a diatribe where he was like,
True.
you know what? Fuck you people. I'm gonna redesign every fire starter that
be
isn't already
firefighting.
firefighting to make them firefighting, and they're really good so far.
It's funny. He should have gone in and he should have said, "Wow, that took me way less time than I thought because so many of them are already firefighting."
Oh my
Mikey,
god.
why are you pinging me on something?
It was for
It's
Mob Psycho.
It's a trailer. Dude, this thing has 3.3 million views. Holy crap.
Did you guys hear that, Master
Hey,
Chief?
Giant Broccoli. I wonder if they're going to do 3 seasons or 4 seasons. Because based on the manga, it could be either or. Yep. Yeah, Mob Psycho Season 3. So October of this year. Okay. Cool. I look forward to that. I don't think I finished Season 2, though. Maybe I should. Or maybe I did, and I just don't remember because it was so long ago. Either of these things could be true. Anywho. Sorry, we were talking about Bro Jumbo's Fakemon.
And then I introduced Zach to this one guy who I'm familiar with who also makes Fakemon, but also areas. And he based them off of, like, I believe it was Italy, Egypt, Scandinavia, Wild West, and England, Britain again.
Well, because he did that before Galar was announced.
Yeah. Let me see. I'm just gonna send you his channel, Grant, and then you could take a look at that stuff later if you want.
Okay, sure.
Because some of his stuff is pretty cool. Some of them. Me and Zach. I think even Zach was like, yeah, some of these are pretty decent.
Oh, well, I would say that his batting average on the designs are, you know, like 25%. Like 1 out of every 4 was like good enough for me to be like, yeah, I would like this would be great in like a Pokemon game. And I think it's mostly because some of the ideas that he puts forth were a little, I don't know, they came off as like Pokemon knockoff as opposed to like Pokemon, and that's fine because it was his own style, you know. I will say that my favorite of the stuff that Saba showed me was his ideas for like regions and whatnot, like his like narrative that he had planned for the Greek region being the bad guy team was the Titans and the gym leaders and Elite Four are the Greek gods. I thought that was really clever.
Nice.
What did
Oh,
he
yeah,
hold?
I think he also has one. He has an Australian one too, because we looked at the wiki. But apparently, some of the stuff that he's made is also not on the wiki. So I was like, how dare they do this to me?
So I'm gonna let you eat for a bit. So
I'm gonna mention some stuff. Yeah.
I have a topic. I did put it in the chat, and this is the exact type of topic that Grant usually goes completely radio silent on. So I look forward to this.
Fantastic.
I put in banter ideas the concept of popular fiction being a reflection of like what the average person is like lacking in their life, if that makes sense, right? So you can do this really interesting thing where like over time you can track like popular media trends, and obviously it requires some interpretation, but you can get like a loose idea as to like what people are looking for in that point of time.
Grass.
Obviously there are like trends
So what I think
and
people are
stuff
looking
which
for.
can skew the results of this, but trends have to come from somewhere, I guess is my point. So like an example I can give, which is where this discussion came from, was that I was watching a video where this guy was doing an analysis of the Wild West craze, like just Western movie craze of the 70s. And it was like a one-off thing. It wasn't the point of the video, but like the one-off thing that he mentioned was that a lot of people who look back on those Wild West movies now and remember them talk about how those Wild West movies made them think of a life in which they were like independent, like they didn't have to rely on other people, and a person could just walk into a town, save the day, and leave and not have any sort of like obligation, right? And I don't know, I was just thinking about that, not saying that that's correct or anything like that. That could just be someone's interpretation, but I thought it was interesting, so I wanted to potentially explore that idea by just, you know, what are some modern popular media trends and what do you think that they might imply about what people are looking for? Because I have one off the top of my head, but I wanted to see if someone else had the same idea.
Popular media trends.
I mean, I have something fashion related.
Okay,
could
go
say.
on.
Fashion
Like
related sounds interesting.
Like the core kind of stuff, cottagecore especially, like jumped out. And it's not like, regardless of like the name itself, it's like the dressing attire similar to like a romantic period of like being in the countryside and like dressing like, I don't know, a milkmaid or something like that. But half of it stemmed from
She said
the
that, yeah.
attire, right? And it came from like, once again, romanticizing a time where things weren't complicated. Like all you had to take care about was like, oh, your little cottage or like your cow and like taking care of them. And,
Is your
singing
cottage and your
Kumbaya.
4 livestock, are they alive? Yes, no. You know, like that
True,
was your
it's
life.
like taking like churning your own like, you know, butter, like, you know,
Grant,
making
what
your
the
own
fuck?
bread, having like a picnic in the woods, like that's all that like mattered. And so people like were like, it was a re-romanticization of like that
simplicity.
ideal. Yeah, right. Well, and that's also like the rose tinted glasses kind of thing, because it's like that's also incredibly hard work. But it's like, no, just take the good stuff from that.
But when you
Right.
think back on it, exactly, with rose tinted glasses, it seems a lot more, you know, simplistic, and it might have been difficult, but at least you didn't have to do something ridiculous like quarterly reports.
There was
you know.
no social media.
No social media specifically.
Yeah.
One that I can think of is isekais.
So you actually took the words out of my mouth. I was gonna say less specifically isekais, but like the broader term of magical other
Transported.
worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, isekai mangas especially like reincarnating as like a whatever in an alternate like universe got really, really big. Like they're really, really good too, which is pretty
How
funny.
many isekais exist where the person reincarnates not as like a main character or like a really important character?
Okay, the really important is something else, because like half of the ones I'm reading, they usually reincarnate as the villainous.
Sure, but
Which
that's
is, like,
but
funny.
that's like the, you know, that's like an equivalent, you know what I mean? Just from a
And
different
that's why I
perspective.
said regardless. You said important character, so I was like,
Yeah.
okay, important character, not. Oh, I do
Does
recall reincarnating as a spider. That's scary, man. That anime.
What one?
It's like one where they get, or it's a girl. I think she gets reincarnated as a spider.
As a spider?
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
Don't show Lawrence that.
She's just a spider and just like what?
It's incredibly funny because in like the thing you kind of see her as this like kind of cutesy looking spider. And it's funny because actually that's just how she views herself. So if you were to actually see her from like anyone else's perspective, she just looks like a monster.
Oh no.
Wait, so is she like a big spider monster, or is she just a spider?
No, I think she started off small. I think she's small. Let me look this up for y'all.
And then she gets larger over time, like some sort of demon.
Damn.
But yeah, Grant, the isekai is a good one.
Yeah.
Because it's just like,
Doesn't-
I would... No, so please go.
I was just gonna say, does that stem from just, you know, obviously not enjoying your current life and short-term satisfaction of I don't want to be in this position, simply take me somewhere else?
I think that there is a overwhelming majority of people... Oh, and that's the one where like the ridiculous 3D model, I saw like a GIF of like,
Oh my
like
gosh,
the
she's
camera
sick as
spins
hell.
around the spider. All right, well, at least I can put 2 and 2 together
Yeah, and
now.
then I think this is what she actually... Oh yeah, hold on here. I found it. Like what she actually looks like. So like the
my
left is how
God.
she sees herself,
Oh,
and
it's
the
just
right
her-
is what she
it's
actually looks
oh
like.
my god.
That's terrifying.
It's scary, man. Yeah.
That's great though. I like that. But yeah, like I don't know. Like I know for a fact that if I had the opportunity to go to a magical otherworld, I think I would take it. Because I don't really see much. Because you know what magical otherworlds like always have in the narrative, because it's required
harem.
for it to be a narrative. Somewhat
harem.
something
A
to
harem.
do.
Oh my god.
Like somewhere to go and something to do. You know what I mean? Where it's just like,
You have a purpose.
yeah, whereas like in real life, like I have a job at the Red Cross and I'm really thankful for that job, but there is no logical conclusion to this job. It's I work this until I either like get a better job or die, I guess is another option, but you know what I mean? And so it's just like, yeah, I would definitely prefer to go to a more interesting world. Like, has there ever been a magical otherworld narrative where the person goes from a more interesting world to a less interesting world? I guess Devil's a part-timer, but that's part of the
I was
charm.
gonna say reverse isekai.
Like that's part of the charm of like Devil's a part-timer is the fact that they are like magical otherworld beings that are now forced to live a mundane life.
Yeah, it's like having God be a hot dog stand man. Like
Yeah.
that by itself is super interesting.
Well, even actually, now that I think about it, even in the context of Devil as a part-timer, a big portion of like why that narrative can work is because the demon king, his servant, the hero, and a couple of other characters that cross over, because they're no longer embroiled in like a multi-century long war, they can all just kind of like talk and get along. You know what I mean? So it's like, so it actually does end up being like
was a
a
good
better
show.
world. Yes,
It's
it
getting
is a good
season
show. Thank
2
you.
finally. Been 9 years. Hasn't been 9 years. It's been like 7, but still, it's been too long.
Has anyone heard of? Is it Shield Hero? Mikey's talking about that. I don't think I'm
I
familiar
am
with
vaguely familiar with Shield Hero. I remember people talking about it when I was in early college. I don't know if that's right though. So, but yeah, I don't know, just like isekais in general, because the magical otherworlds are just really popular in general, because obviously Harry Potter is a big one, but you got stuff like Narnia, right?
Yeah.
You got
I really like Narnia, man. It was really nice.
You
It doesn't
and,
like
like,
a
6 people.
big lion.
Big Lion.
I was like your friend. Yeah, that's it.
Jesus Lion.
Jesus Lion. Apparently Shield Hero is one of the best isekais. I'll take your word for it. I believe you. But yeah, I don't know. because obviously like people, because now I'm just trying to think of like, okay, well, modern trends are one thing, but like, can I wheel my mind back far enough to identify a previous trend that might indicate something else? Because like another one was like after 9/11, a lot of video games just became about like America's military superiority and stuff, like Call of Duty and Battlefield and all that jazz. And that was because of like vehement jingoism and stuff like that. So it's like, okay, that one makes sense.
Well, and after 9/11 is the reason the Food Network grew so much.
Really?
Yeah, the Food Network wasn't that big before 9/11, but afterwards people just wanted comfort and just something not about the news or anything else.
Wow.
So the Food Network really shot up and grew after 9/11.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to do one more of Vampire Survivors, and then we'll do like a little, maybe like an hour and a half of Stanley Parable. I don't know how long you're sticking around for, Grant, but
I was gonna say I gotta get going probably around 2:30.
so soon, like 15 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever. We could do whatever.
Well, because I wanted to keep going about the current topic, but
I mean, we have time.
yeah, I'm gonna migrate over to Stanley Parable. Give me a minute.
Daniel
Behold
Perry.
the overlay. Forgot that I had this overlay, didn't you? Fuck.
Me too.
I switched the wrong screen. Whatever, it's fine. Let me. Miscellaneous window is gone. Quit out of Vampire Survivors. Let's switch over to Stanley Parable. There we go. I might have to turn down the volume in a second, but I don't know. Are there any other popular media trends at the moment that you can think of?
Superhero movies.
Superhero movies is I would actually attribute that to like agency, right? Being like people wanting to empathize with somebody who is special. You know what I mean? Because like a lot of people put themselves in that position, and then also, yep.
Go on.
No, you go.
I was gonna say that, or the idea of obviously everyone knows the world's fucked, and there being someone to protect and or fix it.
All at the same time destroying cities. Yeah,
Yeah.
I get it.
I should probably actually start streaming this now because I forgot that this is actual content. So let me
It's funny.
let me do this.
I'm glad Mikey's down for Stanley. You know what Mikey's like, this is the story of a Pikachu named Obo. He woke up with a dent in his head thanks to Eevee's
thanks to Eevee's rock. Although that's not how that worked. But that's
I missed
fine.
the one day, but yeah.
All right. Adjust the slider until the dog and cat are friends. I'm gonna put it. Oh, look at that.
They're friends. Oh, now they're real friends.
There you go.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Until the number 5 becomes the number 9. There you go.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, is there a different 9?
Oh,
There is a different 9.
Gotcha.
Bro, give them the Roman
9.
numeral.
Well,
Also
it
that.
says
That's
the
a good one.
number 9, and it depicts
Is it
the
gonna
9.
say number 9 at like the very end?
That's how.
No, okay.
I'm gonna do this.
Number 9. Number 9.
Number 9. Number 9. Adjust the slider until you stop adjusting the slider.
He do be spitting facts though.
Which of the two made-up words below is most appealing to you? Scrumtush or Akubonkail?
Yeah, I knew he was gonna be fucking scrumtish.
Please don't adjust the slider. Do you know what time it is right now? Yes.
No.
Do you know where your children are? It's 10 o'clock.
Is that time? Is the time that is right now the correct time? Yes.
It is always the correct time right now.
What is the time anyway? Yes.
Yes
For
or no?
Is there anything about yourself that you haven't told me? Yes.
Yes.
Are you answering yes for all questions?
Yes.
Yeah.
You come back to visit me.
Yeah.
Most likely. I'm not done with the game. So that is a continuation of a different event that occurred earlier in the game, in which the game kept asking every time I loaded it up, please set to the current time. And then I did. And then text came up saying, hey, there's no way for me to know whether or not it's actually the right time that you set it to. But just the fact that you're adjusting the time at all means a lot to me. How about next time you load up the game, you just pick your favorite time instead. So I put 12:34 p.m. right?
Mm-hmm.
And the game was, wow, what an excellent time to have as your favorite time. Anyway, and then it just went. So.
Oh, and I think they also said, or it may just be the actual time again. Who knows?
Let's begin the game.
Let's go. Who's to say?
Who's to say?
Who's saying anything?
Who?
There is an outside achievement grant for the first game, which is like, do not play this game for 5 years.
And then they bumped it to 10.
Yeah. Extra.
Bucket, a strong bucket, a humble bucket, a committed bucket, a bucket of culture and distinction. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket.
Fucking Tokyo drifting around these corners.
Simply
Mm.
and here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct?
Who
was
knows,
this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be. No, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
Damn it, bucket.
Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
Oh, shit.
No.
Have you experienced all of the hole, the infinite hole, Zach?
Yes, I did.
Good, said the bucket.
Oh, it was pretty
now
good.
ride the lift all the way to the top.
I had to watch
There's
like I
something
think
up
2
there
or
I
3
need you
people
to do.
before I saw
Stanley did not question why or how
true
this bucket was
infinite
speaking
hole.
to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets
music
can't
and
talk.
stuff.
But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
I don't remember the bucket telling you to jump off.
Yeah. What a rebel.
Stanley listens to no one.
Stop. Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign right there. It says, no buckets past this point. Stanley, why did you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless, what if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your
Quickly to the story
understanding of
cave.
what is and isn't a bucket.
To the
Please,
bucket.
step in here for a moment. Now then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you're
I'm going to run you through, and a
thing I'm
sword comes out of
telling you is
nowhere.
Yeah.
This should tell us everything we'll ever need
I
to know
request you
about
say no
what
to
is
everything.
or is not a bucket.
The fuck it
Okay,
bucket.
let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket? Correct. It is a hologram of a bucket.
Oh, they gotta. How did we know?
Item
Genius.
2. Is this a bucket?
Oh my god, if you say no and he says correct, this is another hologram of a
Correct.
bucket.
It
Oh
is a
my
3D
god.
A 3D printed
of a bucket,
recreation.
not an actual bucket.
How do we lose?
We're genius.
It's gonna come out with the third one.
Item
my gosh, what
3.
it-
Is this a bucket? Correct.
Oh my god,
This is a bucket.
The bucket. But what is this?
Item 4.
Yes, that is
Yeah,
the
it
bucket.
is.
Yeah.
bucket looking ass.
Oh, Zick!
This is
You
a tractor
fool.
and not a bucket. To be honest, I just sort of put this one in here as a gimme, but I was starting to get concerned that even this might be too much for you. Thank you for not making me look like an idiot. Okay, next one.
Goodbye, tractor.
Tractor.
Is this a bucket?
Oh, what if it is?
Correct.
Of course.
This is a bucket.
Oh my
Nice.
god. It can transport water technically, right?
Item
Yeah.
6. Is this a bucket?
No fucking way. No fucking way. I don't believe it. Fake news.
Fake news, truly.
Fake news. No. Is it a bucket or not? No.
It has to.
No.
It can't be anything else
Trick
but a
question.
bucket.
Both. Gotcha.
What's both?
Man.
How do you explain it? Come back!
No.
Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. Should be around here somewhere.
Is nothingness a bucket?
Is life a metaphorical bucket?
Yes. Thank you. There's nothing here. Of course it isn't a bucket. We both know full well that nothing isn't a bucket. Wait, when I say nothing
Wait
isn't
a
a bucket,
minute.
that makes it sound like I'm saying everything is a bucket, which of course is
Everything's
not
a drum.
true. Unless... Is that what you think? Answer me straight, Stanley. Are you trying to tell me that you believe everything is a bucket?
Technically, we are containers.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago, I could answer these questions with confidence. And yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket?
Would be.
Stanley, I
Yeah?
can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely.
No!
Okay,
The,
here we go.
the bucket.
No!
No.
No!
Ah!
Not the bucket!
What happened? Is everything gone? Why
But
did
you just said everything was a
disappear?
bucket!
Was
What if-
Everything is a bucket. Oh
Every
my
single
god.
thing in the game was a bucket. Oh my
Can't believe
God,
it.
I had no
This is what
idea.
happens when you remove buckets.
Except
Yeah,
me.
they're too powerful.
I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news.
Excuse
We're
me,
not
how do you know that
buckets.
we're here?
Yes, I
Yeah,
actually feel
could
much
be in
more
void.
at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue, but it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what, I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person?
It's a bucket.
All right,
Always has
here we
been.
go.
From the top?
Running it back.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Don't let them know. Everything is a bucket.
Everything's a bucket.
Don't fall into it, Zach. Don't fall for it.
Oh, the
Embrace
bucket!
an old friend, a weathered companionship that stands the test of time.
What do we do now?
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Broom closet.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fined
Little
for
cringe.
that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy?
Wait a
He asked
minute.
the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort.
What
And
have you
that's
done to the
when
bucket?
Stanley realized This isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed
God, the
rooms were
music.
rotating, which was, of course, very odd. And now
Wait.
he felt himself floating
Where's
off
the bucket?
ground.
No more bucket.
Oh my God.
He exclaimed. Without my bucket,
what happens
I've
when
gone
everything's a
truly
bucket?
mad. Where is it? I must find it.
nothing is.
Far off in the distance now.
Oh
he
my
heard
God.
it calling to him. Stanley! Stanley, it's me! The bucket! Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next.
my
None
God.
of them were his. None of them were his
Oh
special
my God, everything
bucket.
is a bucket.
Come
Grant.
with me,
Special
Stanley.
bucket.
Find me. He had to find the
gotta
bucket.
find his bucket.
He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from.
From behind.
Where is
The
it?
real bucket was inside of him all along. It was incredibly painful.
The
Stanley
true
doubled
bucket
over
was
in
the
agony
friends we made along the
blacked
way.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Named Markiplier.
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled
Literally
through
the same
town,
scene as the
talking and
base game, but they
screaming
just
to
put a
himself, and then
bucket in
collapsed
her
dead on the
arm.
sidewalk. She knew what the
Oh
problem
my
was.
God, I thought he would be like holding the bucket, but no.
Of course, he'd gone mad,
The
ranting and
bucket.
raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps
Rookie
he didn't
mistake.
even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
Hell yeah, Mariella. Don't go anywhere without your bucket.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided
Well, I
to go
guess,
to the meeting
Mikey,
room.
the
Perhaps he had
scenario is the
simply
same,
missed
but
a
the
memo.
dialogue is all of it's new, yeah.
The bucket made Stanley want to be a better
bucket
man
time.
and a better co-worker. In time, perhaps, he would become both of those. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door.
Everything is a
bucket.
bucket, so yes. Your answer is yes, Mikey. There was something I saw that there was like a dog mode. Have you seen the dog mode, Zach?
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the
it's
bucket
on,
walked
like, a
upstairs to
whiteboard.
the boss's office.
Let me know if you find it.
Ooh, fancy office.
Dog mode, yes.
Bathroom. I don't
It's
know
like
why
on
you
a
need to go to the bathroom
whiteboard
without your
somewhere
bucket.
inconspicuous.
Oop. Pardonnez-moi.
Panda?
Pardon.
Panda Express?
Pardon. Yeah, express trip to hell with that gun pointed at him.
Go up.
Up.
No,
Damn.
I'm like, we're already at the top. Hey, nice elevator music.
Let's go. Royalty free.
Is it saying Stanley?
Daniel?
What's the narrator? I hear 1, 2, 3, 4. Dead. I don't know if this elevator is real. We should be floating by now.
Yeah. But it's a good thing we have our safety bucket.
True.
Alright, I gotta get going. Goodbye.
Bye.
Boy. Ah, we went real far, huh? Is this all just for the elevator music? He does say Stanley. Stanley. I just wish I remembered where dog mode was.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire, if not for the soothing presence
Can you
of the bucket.
put 3?
Even now,
all threes
in his
into the
darkest
thing?
of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark
do it again.
clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would.
Why did you think that would
Okay.
do anything?
Because
The two
I
of them were
something
inseparable.
did something
At this
3
point, Stanley
before, but
guessed
I
the
don't know what it
correct code
is.
by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Remind me next time we go to that keypad to try 0427.
0427. Okay.
That was the date that Ultra Deluxe mode came out.
Gotcha.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
Go back up. Let's go.
Wait, Stanley said to the bucket. Can we go back up? When I was pressing those keypad buttons, there was
there's the
something very
3.
intriguing about the number 3. I want to go back so I can try pressing the number 3 again. The bucket said nothing. Here we are, said Stanley. Now I'm going to try out that number 3 button. He took the bucket over to the keypad and began absolutely slamming on the number 3 over and over and over.
Oh yeah.
Wow,
3, baby.
he said. The number 3 is such a special button. I'm having the time of my life. Stanley looked expectantly at the bucket.
It's quite a pretty
But
number.
the bucket remained silent. This was... After taking some time to show the bucket around the boss's office, Stanley at last went to the keypad, where he began eagerly pressing the number 3 again and again.
That seems about right.
Riveting gameplay.
It is. I'm enamored by the number 3. This is what everyone wants, okay? 3. With Grant here, we were 3.
Perhaps it had not seen how much joy Stanley got from
No,
slamming
but
the
even
number
though-
3 repeatedly.
Even though Grant has left Mikey's here, so we still have 3. I have 3 windows up on my screen right now.
No, 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 said Stanley to the bucket. You can't go on yet. Not till you understand how much the number 3 means to me. You and I have been through so much together, and I just want you to see what I see. Feel the happiness I feel. He
Do you feel the
smiled at
happiness,
bucket,
Zach?
and the bucket said nothing.
Yes.
Here we go, said Stanley. This time I'll really show you. He ran to the number 3 and began to wail on it like a musician on a beloved instrument, weaving a concerto of truth and passion. He wielded
Isn't
the
that what
number
you want,
3
Zach?
like
Truth
a
and
fine
passion?
artist would wield a paintbrush. He told stories through the number 3, stories of his dreams and hopes and fears. And the whole time, he looked to his bucket for a reaction of some kind. Anything to let him know that the bucket appreciated what he was doing. The bucket conveyed absolutely nothing at all, only silence. Crushed by a wave of dejection, Stanley returned to the elevator.
This is indeed one of the longer ones.
Stanley and the bucket were so close. They'd always been there for one another. Why suddenly could the bucket not connect with this passion of Stanley's? The question caused Stanley to ruminate the whole way down the elevator. He knew
Ruminate
that there
life.
must be a way to get through to the bucket, to communicate fully with his dear friend. Surely there was a solution, mustn't there be? Said Stanley. I know what to do. I know how to fully express this feeling in my heart. He decided right then and there that he would hold a press conference where he would speak to the public on all matters relating to pressing the number 3 over and over. He would elaborate fully on what the number 3 meant to him and why he felt so alive when pressing it. Then the
This
bucket
feels
would
like
be
you with
able
your
to see
pretty
his
numbers,
joy
Zach.
through the eyes of others. It would get to
Yeah.
see the world react.
So where's your
to this
pretty numbers press
discovery of
conference?
Stanley's. And it would
Uh-huh.
be through the public eye that the bucket would finally understand Stanley's work. For months, he advertised and marketed his press
All eyes on
conference,
Stanley.
building excitement around it, developing and rehearsing it until it couldn't be
World's
refined a
healthiest
single
human
measure
being.
further. When the big day arrived,
Ah, yes,
Stanley
the
was
guy who
as
went to
prepared
Mars.
as he'd ever been for anything in his life.
An evening with world peace, baby. The Stanley Parable, Stanley tonight live on stage. A Q&A with world's first sentient machine. Doing great. A conversation with Alexander the Great. Ah, there we go. 333. 3333.
This was it. One last chance to win the bucket over.
427.
One opportunity
There's the
to share a true
0427.
connection
Yeah.
with a loved one.
Congratulations, Stanley. Remember where you came from. Is it I don't know who it's from,
Your
though.
coworkers.
Your coworkers. Okay. Nice. Gotta rev yourself up with some of those 3s. An audience with the dude who came up with pizza. The guy. Oh, okay. The Lord. That's all I can read from that. The guy who went to Mars, we already read, and the last one is.
Keynote speech from the Lord.
Oh, okay. That's when we read. Cool. Alexander the Great.
There was no one here. Nobody had come to the press conference to hear Stanley speak, to listen to him talk about what it really means to press the number 3 on a keypad over and over. He was
Obviously,
unloved,
there's no keypad here.
uninteresting.
How
He
can
was
you
a
convince
failure.
someone of something you're not
And
even
in that
showing
moment,
them?
Stanley knew that the bucket would never again take him seriously. There would be no connection, no deeper understanding. The bucket merely sat there in his arms, indifferent. And so it began that slowly, over many years, the two of them grew more and more distant. They spoke less and less, neither wishing to state the obvious, that any sense of real respect between them
What it
had
really
eroded
means
since
to press
that
the number
day at
3
the
on the
press
keypad over
conference.
and over.
There would be
Presented
no
by
more
Stanley.
games, no more long conversations about passion and pursuit, only a silence that consumed the space between friends. And Stanley, having for once in his life discovered the warmth and comfort of true companionship, was cast back into the unremarkable normalcy of loneliness.
Well, I think that was worth it. If you want, I don't mind switching
All of
back
his
to
co-workers were
vampire
gone.
thing, but
What
you
did
did
it
say you
mean?
wanted to do the
Stanley decided to go to the
0427.
meeting room.
on the
Not everyone
keypad
is
as
so
well.
lucky to have a bucket, but Stanley is a very lucky fellow. Very lucky indeed. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
The number 3. And everything 3 is now sad. Do you see any dog mode? No. It's not here. It's hidden somewhere else.
Oh.
Did you get all the Stanley figurines?
Obviously not, since 2 of them aren't checked off.
Ooh, yikes. There will be a reward for finding them. I don't know if he feels like the narrator is lying. Dog mode? No. It's not here. Trust the completionist instinct. Why wouldn't they just tell us something will happen? Good luck, Zach.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley
go
and the
down the
bucket
stairs.
walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed
Torture's
by the
over.
weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing
it's not.
presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Now, how do you get to the red and blue door rooms? Don't you... He puts you there after you disobey him a certain number of times, isn't that right?
I don't remember that, but I did know the stairs one, but you didn't listen to me, so we're
Well,
past the stairs now.
guess what,
Walked
Saba?
straight ahead through the large door.
I already
Escape!
told you what I was going to be doing, which was entering 0427.
Yes, true. It's unfortunate that the door just closes again on you.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed
Oh,
with
yes.
television screens.
You
What
got it, Zach.
horrible
Woo!
secret did this place hold? But just as Stanley was about to proceed further into the mind-controlled facility, he tripped and fell over the railing and into the dark void below. Thankfully, he fell directly onto the bucket, which safely cushioned his fall. Now, what to do next? Stanley wondered. Stanley and the bucket could find no way out of this enormous pit, and so eventually they decided that the best thing to do would be to simply get comfortable down here.
It's the
So they
date
set up a
day.
little couch and relaxed. It really wasn't so bad down here, a bit cold perhaps.
Amazing.
After some time had gone by, they installed a few shelves as well, and a sort of kitchenette
I have not
that was
seen
useful
this.
for when the bucket was craving paninis. But it wasn't until the rugs and the standing lamps came
I guess this is where
that
we're
it
living
really
now.
started to feel like a home. In fact, after some time, Stanley realized that it had been ages since he had even thought of the mind control facility at all. He'd never gotten to fully explore what was up there, never been able to unearth the many mysteries
But
of the
that's what
mind
happens when you
control
trip on your own
facility.
feet.
This lack of closure began to eat at him. Soon he was dwelling on his regrets, and the state of their home slowly decayed as Stanley became withdrawn and neglected the cleaning.
Oh no.
It unsettled the bucket deeply. Stanley wasn't usually like this. The bucket tried to reach out to him again and again, but to no avail. All Stanley could think about, all he could talk about, was going back, doing it over again.
But Stanley,
staying
we're
on the
happy
path.
here,
It was
together.
a
Why would
mistake
you
to
want to
the
leave?
path. It was a mistake. It was a mistake. I need to do what the narrator says. I need to see the true ending. This made no sense at all to the bucket, which was simply trying to live its life down here as comfortably as possible. Yet Stanley was inconsolable. This isn't an ending. This is just a hole in the ground. The bucket sighed. True, it wasn't an ending. But it's where we happen to be. And maybe, possibly, if we accept the reality of things, maybe this will become an ending eventually. It's what the bucket was counting on. The two of them waited for a very long time.
Oh, the bucket made us a guinea pig. Well,
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed. It takes a lot of humility to carry a bucket so magnificent.
oh my god, he says
Stanley checked
so many
his
different
ego
lines.
and then proceeded on. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
I actually do not remember what causes the red and blue doors. Because I was like, it's not the whatchamacallit where he gives us the third option, right? It's not that one.
I don't recall.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. You're getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly gotten all of the Figler and Marines. Very soon, you'll collect the last one, and then the first number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then. Different in the sense that we used to have none of them, and now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no Figler and Marines. None of us can.
Figler and Marines.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He
I
considered
don't
the
think there's any
possibility of
variant on
facing-
this one.
No, yeah, I think you could just sorry. Now we're stuck on the red and blue doors.
Wait, Stanley thought to himself. Am I sure that the orders stopped coming in? How is that possible? They never stopped. Surely I was mistaken. No, the orders were still missing. For now.
He threw us off. He made us think that there was something back there, but there
Stanley
wasn't.
cradled the bucket in a gentle embrace. Protective, yet delicate. Assertive, yet compassionate. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room. But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was.
You know-
Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was it?
Oh, is he gonna go bucketless?
Yeah.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
What the fuck?
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
What happened?
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
That's not how this is supposed to be.
Oh.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Perhaps in some previous life, Stanley
The
had
lounge
listened
was
to a
sublime,
bucket that the
a
lounge
work
was
of
better
art.
option than
What
the
was
meeting
it
room.
about this room that called so deeply and so personally to Stanley? Its grace? Its subtle charm? No. Stanley knew, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Oh, there is a thing in there.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Because it's like, I'm pretty sure you trigger...
You got that one there, right?
Yes.
That's not there anymore.
Can you get through that door?
I thought you could, but every single time I've seen anyone else try, they die. So...
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others?
Hey, you told me I forgot about something
bad to happen to you? Why? I don't know how
I feel like I'm getting
convince you of
gaslit
this,
right
but
now.
I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Oh!
And there
We found
is,
it.
The last
Amazing.
Stiggly Wiggly. Savor this moment, Stanley. This is a real accomplishment. This is doing something just for the sake of doing it. Where so many people expect to be rewarded for the most trivial achievements, you've insisted that a job well done is its own reward.
Good job, Zach.
I would tell you that I'm proud of
You
you
did
for
it.
collecting them all, but that would be like a reward, and we can't have that. So, instead I'll just say, it's done. We're all done here, and now we can go to whatever the hell you were doing before you hunted for figurines.
Okay, let's keep going.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door. All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map, because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing, because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what, let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin. Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here. A 1? I mean, I can understand if you had reservations, you saw ways the game could be improved to more fully express itself mechanically and artistically, but a 1? That's not even helpful. What am I supposed to do with that? But I guess it isn't my place to judge. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Good old Neil. Skid. Bola Hogarth. Street Esquire. I was going too fast. There you are.
How long I played the game?
Amazing. How long does it take you to get to the correct door?
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please.
Did it improve at all? We go from a 1 to a 2.
Hey, I
maybe.
nearly
No,
forgot.
just
I've got
a
a
1.
prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up. In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
And little do you know, Zach doesn't care about babies.
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me?
It's the
because
former.
If it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game, just to ease the pain? Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
Let's go.
Aha! Fascinating. What do you think this game is about, Stanley? What's our backstory? What is our motivation? Well, it seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your creep tower.
This game seems
Perhaps for
somehow
some sort of
familiar.
twisted, erotic
I wonder
purpose.
why.
Yes, that must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game,
I wonder
Stanley.
if we can
And it
escape the
seems there's
walls.
even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
Run for it. I would like to escape into the open world. Nothing can keep us from leaving now.
Oh no. No, it can't be. It is. It's
Run.
an open world game.
Run,
Good
you can
God,
make it.
quickly block it off.
Ah,
Thank goodness, Stanley. What a close call. You nearly wandered off into that thing. That big, open, just wandering around. No right
if
or
only we
wrong
could find a
directions,
green
no
pipe.
path to follow. You can just go in any...
Also, Firewatch is not an open world game.
Thank heavens we avoided it. We're out of the woods
It's
now,
literally an open world game in that it doesn't prevent you from going most places, but like there's not really a reason to go anywhere other than where the story
Something
wants you
with
to.
nice, big, insurmountable walls.
true. In that case, you should have just let us leave.
Okay, I think this will be just the thing. Wonderful. See, this is exactly what I had in mind. Just a nice big box for you to run around in. There isn't any possibility that you could get lost here. Now this is game design. Stanley, if you manage to get lost in this game, I will be phenomenally impressed.
Okay, we
Okay, so
gotta.
what exactly do we do here? Let's see. There are lots of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here.
Ah, he's not being open-minded. How is this guy a narrative person if he doesn't understand
we shall run the bases
design?
and do a touchdown together? Yes, I think surely we must. Okay, Stanley, here's the ball. Have fun.
Oh my god. We're suddenly speeding. Yo, Zach, you got it. Hit one in for the team.
Are you doing it? Are you winning? Is this fun? Is it better than my miserable little story that I worked so hard on? Stanley, I have a thought. And I realize I'm not a sportsologist, but if one ball generates a certain amount of raw adrenal pleasure, then surely multiple balls makes for an even more euphoric sports experience. Hold on. What are you doing?
We are the ball.
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back.
Stanley.
Yeah. What I thought.
Is this behind the scenes?
No, this is the original source mod that Stanley Parable eventually came from.
Wow.
That's why you have to fall through a bunch of development stuff.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
That's not ominous. We did it.
All the balloons are gone.
Oh, yeah.
What the fuck?
Stanley, I'm sorry, but I have to put a pause on things. It's those figurines. Those figures. I haven't stopped thinking about them since you nabbed every last one. Wasn't it just the most intrinsically fulfilling
Cursor.
moment of your entire life? Didn't it fill you to the brim with inner richness? Yes, I know we're supposed to be telling a story, but won't you please indulge me with one more trip back to the memory zone? I would love nothing more than to revisit the figurines. Just one more time.
When Stanley found the collectibles.
The memory zone. Things have moved.
Here's where it all began. The first collectible. Back then, we had no idea of how many of them we'd find. Sure, it said 6 right there on the screen, but how could we know for certain? We were so innocent. We'll never be like that again, Stanley.
I don't like
Nice.
7 of 6.
You've gone you've gone above the Call of
And
Duty.
here was a second Stan Loreen. You found this one all on your own.
Do you like
just
8
by
out of 6
poking
better?
around in the boss's bathroom. You did that, Stanley. I'll be honest. Back then, I had no faith in you to find any of them, let alone 6.
Yikes.
But you continue to surprise me in all sorts of mundane, unremarkable ways.
Thanks.
Okay, let's do a little quiz. Which of these rooms was the room you found your third mini Stan? Can you remember?
Did we get it right?
Hey, that's exactly
Hey.
right. It was here, behind the boss's office. It was the third one. You picked it up, and then after that, you had 3 of them. I'm glad these moments are so crystal clear in your memory, but I shouldn't be surprised. After all, science tells us that it's impossible to forget your third time doing anything.
True. 3, third, anything? Yeah, hard to
Let's
forget.
see, what came next? Oh yes, we found a Figley in this pink room. Oh well, I can't actually say I remember being in this room, but it's here in the memory zone, so it must have happened.
You didn't grab the Figley.
Because we didn't get it here.
This was the 5th mini Stan, and this one was really something special. It was under the stairs. I remember it so clearly.
As if
In
it was
fact,
yesterday.
Because this one is particularly special to me, I made a little video to commemorate the occasion. Enjoy.
What's that down there? It's mini stand number
Oh my god,
5.
it's 2009 again.
We did it. You found it under the stairs. I remember the days of needing to make PowerPoints.
Takes you back, doesn't it? I spent a lot of time making that video, but it was 8 minutes I wouldn't have spent on anything else.
Yes, figurines.
And then, Stanley,
Okay,
then we came to
fancy.
the last collectible, the final figurine, right here by the red and blue doors. This memory is the most distinct and clear in my mind, perhaps because it was the one that happened more recently than all the others. Who can truly say how the mind works? All I know is that this is the moment where you picked up a Figley and I thought to myself, yes, that's all of them. They're all collected. It was a moment unlike any other. Except for the other moments picking up figurines, which it was exactly like.
You've done it. Congratulations.
Oh, they both bleed.
And then there was no more. Because we've caught up to the present moment. Nothing left to do but move onward into the future. Goodbye, memory zone.
Okay, sure.
No, I'm not done. I'm not ready to move on. Stop the loading screen. Isn't there some way we can stay here, keep enjoying these figurines? Let's just go
Figurines.
backwards. We'll do the memory zone again from the opposite direction. See how that feels.
See how that feels.
You got it, boss.
Okay, yes, the room with the red and blue doors. I remember this. I must say,
12
of
out of 6
all
feels
the
pretty
figurines
satisfying.
we looked at in our initial tour of the memory zone, this one is the most distinct and clear in my mind. Let's keep going. I want more.
He wants more.
Let's keep
And
going.
here's where I made that video. Don't you remember the video we watched? Yes, I love that video.
This is not where we got the fourth one, though.
Still don't remember the pink room, Stanley. Still no memory of this one. Good room, though. A solid room.
It's a pretty room.
I'll take it, whatever.
But now we're gonna have one less because you didn't grab it the first time we came through. Ah, the agony.
Well, it was your fault.
Hunt down. You know, if there had been any kind of reward for finding all of these, it really would have muted the intrinsic joy of collecting them. I'm very glad we resisted the temptation. Next one.
Gonna make it. Ooh. Oh, that would have been funny if we could have gone this way too.
This was our second Figley. Don't you remember? Yes, I remember it too.
I too like the name
past is truly a
Figley.
wonderful thing. Why does anyone ever choose to leave it? This is it. The very first one we found in the exhibit where I introduced you to the figurines. Oh,
Yes, 17 out of 6.
I want to keep going. What else is there? What came before this?
You did it.
Look, it's the terrible new content that we were originally sold on. I remember hating it back then. But time does put a rosy filter on everything. In fact,
Oh,
I dare
doesn't
say
it?
I'm actually quite... Oh, yes! The 2 doors! Who could have forgotten that? A classic memory, this one. And before everything else, there was your office. Is there anything else? Was there something that came before your office? There's something I feel I can remember. I can remember.
He can remember.
What a weird line read.
I'm remembering something now. I remember before this whole story got started. Back then I was different. I used to make big decisions. I was passionate. I was skeptical. I weighed each decision with profound thoughtfulness. And then somewhere along the way, I stopped making decisions. I became lazy, and I came up with a character named Stanley to do my thinking for me. He would make the decisions. He would decide which way to go. I would cheer him on as he collected figurines for no reason. Why did I invent Stanley? Was I lonely? Yes, perhaps that's it. Perhaps I needed to imagine I had companionship. And Stanley really did make...
Just realized we've been on Stanley Parable, but I didn't actually change our category.
But
Nice.
I suppose it's grown old. I want to think for myself again. I want to go back to how it used to be. Yes.
Who's to say this isn't Vampire Survivor?
I can do it. I'll be stronger this time. I'll take care of myself. I don't need Stanley anymore. Oh, but he truly was so much fun to play with. You know what? Since we're in the memory zone, how about one more good memory? Let's go back just once and give Stanley one more run of the office, and then I'll retire him for good. I did enjoy telling his story so very much. Okay, here we go. This is the story of a man named Stanley.
That'd be really cool if it was just one more loop and then it just like deleted your save.
Mm-hmm.
How
True.
long was I
Balloons
sitting
are
there?
back.
Stanley wondered to himself. Minutes? Days? Centuries? Ah, Stanley's bucket. The only co-worker he would ever truly need. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Oh.
Oh, good Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually.
Oh my god.
You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care
The
about
broom
you very
closet's our
much.
friend.
It's this bucket you're carrying
Oh,
around
yeah.
everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure
You're not allowed
Line?
to take the
We
gift
could make
back.
the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it.
Adventure Line, let's go.
I need that music though. This is only worth it if the music is
Whee!
good.
Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well.
Yes, true. There it is.
Now this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue? Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
What?
It's as classic now as it
Was
was
that-
back then.
Whoa.
Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
No, I didn't realize this was that kind of negotiation.
Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why
To do
I'm
it.
very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer.
No,
I
Zach.
think it'll make a wonderful
Don't do
new
it.
addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me, it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't
He
you
can't do
agree?
this to us. He can't ask us to give up one new character
Can
and then
you
he
guess
makes
what the
our own
Bucket
new
Destroyer
character.
does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley. Say
No.
goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready.
Not the bucket. You don't have to do it.
Now listen to me. It's crucial
No.
that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying
No.
buckets is all it knows. That is its singular
No, I think it's time for it to
personality
become
trait.
more complex.
Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable
Exactly.
characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and
you just
nuance
told me
that
it was a
it's
single
really
trait.
Like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The broom closet? Certainly not. I wonder what
No.
sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic
have to
Stanley
do it.
Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly now, the
doing
fans are
fine.
waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give the fans what they want. Hurry and...
Oh my god.
The bucket was worth it.
I tried to get rid of it.
The Bucket Destroyer, my prized creation. You had
Forgot
so
about
much...
the
And that's what we
Adventure
gave
Line.
up.
You were going to do such
We didn't have to give
marvelous
up anything
things with
else.
you, tell such spellbinding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
It was pretty cool.
How enjoyable.
Bullshit. He said he would do one more loop.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Is Stanley, without the bucket, really Stanley at all? No, no, surely not. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his
Truly
left
wrong.
to go back, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Wow.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort.
Oh, look, the
now
thing is
more
gone.
than
The
It changed-
figurine thing's now.
It changed back
ever.
because we found all 6.
Find answers.
Yeah. No dog mode here either, unfortunately.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
The bathroom.
Well,
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the... But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
this is the last ending I can think of that I haven't done with the bucket. That's not completely random.
That was part of the original endings.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves. The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs.
I can't get the fucking speedrunner achievement. No.
And it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine. Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind.
Feeble mind.
No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never! He squeezed the bucket tighter, his one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working,
I think that's
all of
wrong.
it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery... But at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls. Stanley
bucket.
gasped in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and claim the power for itself? How could the bucket have betrayed him like this? Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen. Birds. Silly, silly birds. The control
Silly
buttons
birds.
became active again.
Birds.
Stanley flipped through one
Love
video of
birds.
silly birds after another, and then it dawned on him. This wasn't a mind control facility at all. It was a
Hummingbirds.
facility for monitoring and
I don't know what
surveilling
those
silly
are.
birds all over the world.
Neither
The
that
mind
guy.
controls were only a
That's just a
facade
goose.
to disguise its true intentions. Had the bucket known this all along? Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his hands, the one who had pointed him towards this incredible discovery. Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, flipping
Ow.
through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable.
Parrot.
Of all the possible paths his life could have
Oh,
taken,
we've looped
this
again.
one was surely the best. And Stanley was happy.
Good for you, Stanley.
You did it.
Well, unless something random happens on this loop, we're gonna be done, and we're gonna go back and we're gonna do one last game of Vampire Survivors, and then we're gonna end stream for the week.
Very nice.
Already this was uncomfortable, and Stanley decided that as soon as he found a new space he felt safe in, that he would never leave it again in his life.
I think we go bucketless.
Okay, whatever you say. I'm pretty sure doing anything bucketless is
When Stanley
just...
came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
You know what,
The
Saba?
original game.
You tell me what to do. How about that?
Let's go right.
I'll go to the right.
Yeah.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was grand, majestic, perhaps too majestic, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took
Which
the
way are we going?
first open door on his left.
Let's go straight.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't
What are we doing
5
here?
years ago.
Let us go across and up there. We can't really. Yeah.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about.
Who did we
Please,
forget about?
Stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for
Oh,
me.
but you're blowing into the mic.
I'm asking for her.
Am I? Okay.
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's
fuck?
been waiting.
Okay, Zach,
That's
unplug
her,
the phone.
Stanley. You need to be the one to
Unplug
do
it.
this. Oh, no, you can't. Did you just unplug the phone?
I
But
did.
that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You
How did
actually
you do that?
chose incorrectly? I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check.
Actually, Saba, you just introduced something that I didn't know about. There is another ending that we can do
Stanley
now.
picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he
Oh.
finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How
If
on
it
earth
doesn't
are you
mean
making
anything, what I
meaningful
did doesn't mean
choices?
anything.
What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No,
What?
that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person.
Oh dear.
I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have
Clearly
that kind
not.
of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Rupert has a choice. He could invent a machine
Hypothetical
that
Rupert.
eliminates food shortages across the world to make life better for all people. Or he could spend years of hard work forgetting how to read. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real.
Oh my
Allow the
God.
person to finish their thought,
Wait a minute.
then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed
My
to be
goodness,
having
is
a
it
back sack and crack."
4:30? supposed to be going.
Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Ah, welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please. Now that we know your choices are
You're not
made,
allowed to jump
we
off.
can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
The plank of wood is gone.
Oh, we can't throw ourselves off. Stanley entered the door on his right.
Almost
meeting
there.
room.
You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending, the story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world. Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
Okay, go right, left. Whoopsies.
Oh, I wanted to see it like get fucked up more. That's not right.
It's ruined. I can't.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Everything we talked about. My story. You've destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that?
Why?
What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone? Left
I
here
don't
like
know.
so much
I thought it was
garbage.
quite seductive.
It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to
calm.
continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now
okay.
incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever, reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I... No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to. I'm here. I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You. Who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed.
I mean, I don't know. Don't hinge your entire game on a
What, did you think that would
plugged-in
be
phone.
funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child. Oh, my story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect.
I don't know how to destroy the mind control facility.
Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Seems like 2 different hallways.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back.
Oh my god.
Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly.
You think it'll just keep
and
looping?
always putting the story first.
I'm not sure,
quite
but this
sure
is...
you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back.
Oh yeah.
Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right.
I guess the previous stuff didn't happen.
2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Well,
Okay, well.
see if this fixes anything. It's a meeting room
Yes, there
screwed
was not
up,
a
so
single
it's
person
not.
here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's
Oh,
office.
it's been closed off. Oh, there's no bathroom.
Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Night Shark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
I can't speak though.
Have you tried?
Yes.
Shark.
Stanley spoke the code.
Baby shark.
Night Shark 115. He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall.
Night shark.
I'm sorry, is there a problem? You didn't mishear me, did you?
You took my vocal cords
Please
out.
speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise, we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step. Okay, fine, you're not going to do it, but you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak. Say something to me. Explain yourself, you coward. You...
Oh my god.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Stanley? Hello? Are you... Is everything okay? Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice.
No! end.
The door.
The
Are
end.
you listening to
Wait,
me?
what?
Can you hear me?
Stanley Parable also deluxe.
Stanley, this is important.
Crows, crows, crows.
Make a decision. It cannot exist without you. Do you understand me? Whatever choice you make is just fine. They're both correct. You cannot be wrong here. We can work together. I'll accept whatever you do. I simply need you to.
That
take
really
that
that can't.
step
That's not the
forward,
last
please.
ending.
Choose. Do something.
Created with Unity.
Anything.
Based on the work of the Stanley Parable.
No. I need this. The story needs it.
Andrea Jorgensen.
You hear me? Are you there?
Stanley character
Are you listening to
skin.
this? Stanley, are you there? Okay. It's okay, I can wait. You need time to decide. Time to make sure your choice is correct. That is the best choice. That's all right. I'll wait for you to decide what's the right thing to do. Take as much time as you need.
A little fucked up. Oh,
We did it.
all right. So I didn't know you could unplug the phone.
All of his co-workers were gone.
Is that the first time you've seen that ending?
Stanley decided
Yes.
to go to the meeting room.
Very
As Stanley
nice.
lifted his bucket, he felt a connection to all buckets.
See,
everywhere.
I
This
can
adventure, he
introduce new
decided,
things
was
to you.
for all of us.
Unlikely.
Games you thought you knew.
Bucket tightly to his chest. This
Yes.
was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here
I'm
it
just
was.
disappointed
The bucket
I
turned
didn't
out to be
remember how
correct.
to do
Well,
dog mode for
never
you,
mind.
but that's okay.
The
You
bucket was
can
wrong.
check it out later.
Stanley took the
I don't
door
think
in
that,
his
is
hand
there really a
and
dog
back to the
mode?
meeting room.
I will pull it up for you.
Okay.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift. Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley
It's
did not
part of the
question why or
whiteboard
how this
ending.
bucket was speaking to him. It
I have
should
no idea
alarmed
what that
him, of
is.
course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had
Wait a
spoken
minute, how
to
do we
him,
get the whiteboard
and he
ending?
unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
I'll figure out the whiteboard ending. You give me.
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Now pick up the phone.
Whoa, hold on. Why did you unplug the phone? Were you trying to resist the bucket's orders? Stanley, I was joking. Obviously, the bucket isn't talking to you and telling you to do things. Buckets can't talk. It was a joke.
Don't you get the joke? It's funny, Stanley. A talking bucket.
Can't you see? Oh, goodness. I must have really bungled up the delivery if you actually took me seriously. Where did I mess up the joke? Should I have paused for longer or spoken quicker? Comedic timing is so difficult. I wish I were better at it. But there isn't exactly an instructional video on comedy that one can watch to fully... Oh, wait, yes, there is. It's sitting right here. Let's
Oh,
take a look.
it's the workplace safety video, but now it's about
What
comedy.
is comedic timing? What is comedic timing? How does it work? How long should it last? How can it be used to effectively silence your political enemies? And more importantly, can it be taught in its entirety within 90 seconds? Thankfully, the answer to all of these questions is yes. Let's dive deeper. If you've ever told a joke or made someone laugh, in all likelihood, you did it while standing 50 to 80 centimeters from them in a room of no more than 76 degrees Fahrenheit, with one of your arms raised straight upward at a 15-degree angle from your body. These are the optimal conditions for good comedic timing. To begin the joke, start by stating and spelling your name. Next, provide a brief synopsis of the joke, including the specific times at which the recipient of the joke will laugh, and then spell out your name a second time. With these steps complete,
Alrighty.
it's time to begin the humor. Speak the entire joke in no more than 18 seconds and no less than 13 and a half, pausing only for bathroom breaks when necessary. When the joke has concluded, it is customary to inform your listener that the joke is over by declaring in your loudest possible voice, "I'm Dunny with the funny. Let's practice screaming, I'm Denny with the funny now.
I'm not saying
Good.
that.
This saying is a perfect example of expectations management, which is the cornerstone of good comedy. Finally, it's time to hand out surveys. Collecting hard data from your audience on how wrapped they were throughout the joke is the only way to grow or learn as a comedian. An effective survey should be no less than 10 pages long and should include the same question reprinted several times, just to ensure the survey taker is actually paying attention and not simply filling in answers at random. And that's all there is. With these strategies at your disposal, you'll have audiences doubled over in laughter and even tripled over in laughter in no time at all. Just remember to let them stop laughing at some point, you gut-busting little scamp. After all, with each of us needed on the front lines of the war to fight the 12-legged invader who threaten our very existence, and to very likely die in a hailstorm of bullets and mandibles. All of us must be prepared to give our lives to this noble cause, just as our children must do after us, and their children after them. Godspeed, and may Earth reign supreme.
Earth reign supreme.
Hey, goodness, this video is a little outdated, isn't it? Well, no matter. I think the fundamentals of proper comedic timing are still as relevant today as they were back then. So with that in mind, I believe the only way forward is for us to return to the two doors and walk through all of this again, so I can try telling my story with more appropriate comedic delivery. Come along, let's head back.
By the way, I think I potentially found how to get whiteboard ending.
Okay.
Should be relatively easy, and if we could pull that off, we can also get dog mode.
I can feel it. This time, I'm really going to nail the delivery. You'll be in stitches. A talking bucket, you'll say? How ridiculous. How absurd. What a hilarious concept. The king of comedy. That's what you'll call me. Thank goodness we had the instructional video. Otherwise, who knows where we'd be right now.
Of course, because that instructional video.
That's for sure. The bucket spoke to Stanley. The bucket spoke. The bucket spoke. Oh, I'll figure it out on the fly. No need to overthink things.
Property of Stanley. Stanley's bucket.
Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left.
Wait, but isn't the door on the right the one that has the funny haha joke bucket thing? So shouldn't I go to the one on the left?
I don't know.
What? We're back at the phone already? No, what's going on? There was supposed to be several rooms leading up to this. There was supposed to be a build-up to this point, a dramatic display of remarkable comedic wit which culminates in this scene with the phone. But now the timing's completely off. The joke will never land. Well, not the way it was meant to. And it's all my fault. I must have forgotten that the phone room comes immediately after the two doors room. What an egregious mistake. I've made a fool of myself. I don't deserve the title of King of Comedy. I'm nothing. I'm not even the lowliest joke-telling whelp. I think I need to go back and rewatch that instructional video again. Yes, surely that will help me improve my...
Nice.
Here we go.
You've stolen the
You
key.
ready?
Well,
When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left.
I think this may now repeat itself, potentially. Until you...
What? We're back at the phone already? No.
Yeah, okay, so now
okay.
you're gonna have to go... Now it's the
You
same
ready?
thing.
When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left. No. You were supposed to go through the door on the right, leading back to the phone.
What?
Did you not even look at the instructional video? I think this is all covered very
You said
clearly.
left.
There's no way I can make the comedic timing work now. It's done. The joke is completely done and over. It's all your fault, Stanley. I'm going to be ridiculed in the community of other joke writers. I'm going to be shamed at every one of our meetings from now on. All because you couldn't watch a simple video and take a hint. Are you proud of yourself for bringing me down, Stanley? Are you proud?
Stanley, you love the bucket so much it's like you... it's as though all of your other most prized possessions pale in comparison. Yes.
Ha ha ha
Let me
ha
try
ha
again,
ha.
Stanley.
Ha.
I heard that you are pale with shame over how unabashedly in love with a bucket you are. No? Still not? It is a delivery. Pale with shame. Pale with shame. Pale... What's another word to describe a bucket? Stanley, this bucket is so metal, I think I saw it playing guitar. Getting away from making fun of Stanley's obsession with the bucket, which was the whole point of this. I'm no good at these jokes. I need more instructional videos. That's exactly what it is.
Need more instructional videos.
Comedy again. More instructional videos. Let's see.
Okay. I believe
So
what
the
you need to
whiteboard
do.
ending doesn't have the bucket?
No, so all you need to do is you need to reset until like the outside like office is like blue-ish. Hopefully we can get this fairly quickly. Could you get?
So it's a random ending.
Yeah.
Okay. That's probably why I never saw it then.
So, I mean, I saw some people like I guess yeah, the randomness of it. You can just get it or not get it. If it gets a little bit too annoying.
Because I
it
still
doesn't
haven't
happen.
done the still haven't gotten the adventure line this playthrough.
The adventure line. Tell me if you got it, and I'll double check.
How am I supposed to know? You say it looks bluish.
Yeah, no, it's randomly when the thing starts. When the outside looks different. It's the same, just keep going, Stanley. That's different, but this is not the blue room. Do you want to go check this out, I guess?
Fuck is this? Is
What
this the...
new mysteries lay in store for our bucket-loving heroes to... Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his... This was not the correct way to the meeting.
It was...
But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him.
I don't know why
telling
that
him
changed.
That the employee lounge
Well, I
was
mean, if
simply
you
the
don't want to
place
go through the
be.
thing, we can just restart
And
again.
here it was. Had the
Well, now
bucket
I'm, like,
turned out to be correct?
now I'm, like,
Was
confused.
This better than the... No,
I'm confused too. Why did that happen?
the bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left.
I guess it was like that. I guess it was like that one time where the hallway bent to the left instead of the right.
Maybe. Oh, you know what? If there was an ending of like, not that you need to see it particularly, but like you juke the crane lift thing, where it's like you try to get on it, but then you move back immediately, so it just starts going by itself, and then he gets mad at you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I could see that. That's funny.
Stanley came to a set of 4 open doors.
Stanley came
True.
into the bucket.
Stanley. Into the bucket.
That's what the bucket
The
is
bucket
for.
is a container to transfer liquids, eh? Oh, exits,
All of his
freeze,
co-workers were gone.
open door
What did it mean?
426.
Stanley decided
Oh, there's
to
a
go to
bucket
the
probably
meeting room.
ending for this
Perhaps he had
too,
simply
but
missed
like
a memo.
426. You want to grab? If you want to grab the bucket, you can do that too.
Welcome to the whiteboard ending. Yay!
Enter. Dog mode. Now click around. That is dog mode.
Now this, Stanley thought to himself, this is a bucket. And Stanley pressed the bucket upon every little thing in the office. Nothing responded to the bucket's touch, but it did little to discourage Stanley's belief in the magic.
I believe now when you like play the game, now it's the dog stuff. That's what I wanted to show you. See, it's just as good as Okami. With the barking.
Give me a second. Oh, I thought you meant it would stick between things.
No, I meant the rest of that run.
Oh, well, I'm sorry about that. Maybe we can
It's
get it
okay.
again.
You saw the whiteboard ending.
Take
That was
easy.
back.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to...
Okay, I'm gonna set this to that. Let's see what this puppy can do.
the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oh my god. Amazing. Amazing.
You think that's
Truly-
amazing?
Oh my god.
Behold, true power.
Oh my god, I can feel it glitching out. I'm going to break the game.
Finally, yes, the bucket, yes.
Oh my god.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
This is a great way to end stream. With this noise.
Still no one was home.
True.
Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where, coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't.
Alright, well,
Amazing.
that was that. There was obviously more stuff, like never got Adventure Line proper with the buckets, probably kind of interesting, I guess. I like the whiteboard ending, that's kind of funny. It's not even an ending, it's just a room. But yeah. Oh, you know what? Let's do the...
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it
The
be?
what?
We got like a minute.
Stanley
We got like a
decided to
minute
go to
left.
the meeting room. Perhaps
Drop
he
the
had
bucket.
simply missed a memo.
You want the bucket?
Well, what are you trying to do? I was like,
One
I mean, I was just gonna
One
walk
chance
off
to
the...
see their
Or like not go onto the lift.
oh, sure.
Stanley clutched the bucket
Let's try it with
tightly
the
to his
bucket.
chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
Was the bucket correct?
Stanley
No,
took the door
it
on
was
his
not
left
correct.
To go back to the meeting room.
But Stanley was so bad at following
said the
directions.
Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Get off.
Good.
Oh, well, look who's got cold feet. Well, from here, it looks like the only way forward is down, since the lift won't be coming back, but that's okay. You've got a bucket.
Buckets.
Did you know that buckets are routinely used as cushioning devices? It's
Oh my
true.
goodness.
You can fall on a bucket from literally any height and survive. Whoops. Looks like I was wrong. How clumsy of me.
How silly.
Congratulations.
Okay.
You did
Well,
it.
that's the Stanley Parable. Random events, I think, are pretty much the only thing left to find, I guess. But obviously, we're not going to be doing that right now, and stream is over. Well, that was a Sunday. I personally liked the bit where we were just talking over Vampire Survivor, because I think we had a lot of really good discussions. But next Sunday, we should be back with Lawrence doing the Sexy Brutale, so hopefully that'll be good. And on Friday, I don't know if we're going to finish it on Friday, but we will definitely finish it by Saturday, Wonderful 101. After which we will be moving into the Minish Cap. And then after that, we may or may not do Professor Layton or SCP. One or the other. So,
Sure.
yeah. Good night, stream.
Good night, Saba. I will see you later.
True. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.